Want to kindly settle down. We are starting the Hydrocarbon Summit. In fact, our keynote speakers, they are on their way. Meanwhile, I'll request Shri Sandeep Jain, Shri Rajesh K. Medirata ji, Shri Praveer Agarwal ji, and Rupesh Pandey ji to kindly come on the dais. Mr. Praveer Kumar Agarwal ji. So, before we officially start the session, may I request our delegates to kindly join us for lighting of lamps so that we are able to invoke the blessings of goddess of knowledge to add more wisdom and knowledge in our internal spheres. I will also request Mr. Biswas ji, M.K. Biswas ji to kindly join us for lighting of lamp. Thank you, sir. So, on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce Industry, I welcome all the distinguished delegates, our distinguished speakers, Shri Sandeep Jain ji, former Executive Director Gas, IOCL. We have with us Mr. Rajesh K. Medirata, MD and CEO, Indian Gas Exchange, IGX. Shri Praveer Agarwal ji, Executive Director GAIL and Chairman of CGUL. And we have, in fact, the host of domain experts and subject matter experts who will be dwelling on this subject as the day progresses. And in this hydrocarbon summit, we are basically discussing like how we can integrate our upstream strength with downstream excellence for sustainable growth. Now, it seems to be quite a heavy word, quite a sort of, I'll say, maybe a oil and gas jargon. But at the same time, if we see right now, we are standing at a very, very pivotal moment of the energy journey. If we see our entire ecosystem, in fact, our demand for energy is growing very fast, and it is almost, faster than any other major economy. And the projections are that our country will account for close to 23% of the global incremental energy demand by 2050. So this very important, I will say, this stark growth, it underscores that why resilience in hydrocarbons is essential, why like from upstream exploration to downstream refining and distribution, how this should be fused with the sustainability and economic competitiveness. So this is the, I think, keyword that our subject matter experts will unfold as we gradually, deliberate on the thematic session. And beyond hydrocarbons, if we see our energy basket, in fact, our country has also accelerated its clean energy transition. As we are all aware that in June 2025, we have reached the milestone of 50% of the installed electric capacity from non-fossil fuel sources. So this is again a very important, target that already we have achieved, which is well, we are in fact before the target itself. So this dual energy pathways wherein on one side we are talking of, the resilience in hydrocarbon sector, while also we are ensuring that The renewables, they also offer the climate-aligned growth as well as the energy cost stability. So both the fossil fuel as well as non-fossil fuels, the integration, the blend will definitely carve an important sort of a journey wherein we will be able to have more energy conservation, more energy from non-fossil fuels as we advance. And also of late we have seen that strategic international partnerships, they are reshaping our India's energy and trade landscape. As we know that on 27th of January, India has signed the EU FTA. So this is again a very, very landmark, I'll say the FTA that has been achieved, because this will actually, catapult in terms of liberating the trade across goods and services and also reinforce supply chain diversification. That was in fact we were looking for so many years. And the pact will also enhance the energy linked capital flows. There will be more technology exchange as well as there will be more regulatory cooperation of clean fuels and carbon benchmarks. And this is very, very vital for transition pathways, and it actually spans hydrocarbons to the green energy. And of late India has they signed a very, very significant bilateral trade deal with US also. The details are yet to come. The timelines, I think it will be out maybe in few days or so. That will actually result in more understanding of the nuances that how we can actually advance to green energy. So all these global alignments, all these geopolitical stresses as well as geopolitical now recent opportunities, they all support India's diversification from single source dependency, and it actually stabilizes the supply, which is amid a lot of geopolitical turbulence, lot of instability that we have witnessed in the last few years. So in this very important summit, we will be discussing about the three pillars in all the, as we understand these sessions, as deliberation happens. So the three pillars will be, first is like how we can actually deepen our upstream exploration and field development, how we can actually strengthen the downstream refining and petrochemical excellence to support economic growth, and at the same time the third pillar is how we can actually accelerate clean energy integration to meet climate goals and build future readiness. And all these three pillars, when supported by global partnerships and also trade integration with different countries, this will actually ensure that our country not only meets the rising energy demand but also leads with a very, very resilient, diversified and sustainable energy future. Because when we are talking of securing energy, we are not talking of Aaj ka Bharat, in fact we are talking of Kal ka Bharat, and also like supplying energy to other countries also. So with this, on behalf of PhD CCI, welcome all the distinguished delegates again, and we have in fact, I'll say the most of the learned speakers who have actually have given their blood and sweat to the hydrocarbons industry and this sector, and who actually understand the nuts and bolts that what are the current challenges, what are the looming opportunities also, and how to actually convert all these challenges into opportunities. So with this, I will like to invite first of all our expert speaker to give industry perspective, Shri Sandeep Jain ji, who is the former ED Gas at IOCL. Over to you, Jain sahab.
Thank you, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji. First of all, big thank you to PhD Chamber for not remembering me, but for not forgetting me. Generally, it happens when you superannuate. I have superannuated from Indian Oil in August 25, and I was the co-chair of this hydrocarbon chamber, in which I have been invited today as a speaker. And it's a very good initiative. PhD Chamber, from time to time, they undertake these kind of initiatives, which are very important because they bring together all the stakeholders on one stage, and the discussions have always been very productive, very fruitful. Well, coming back to India, Aaj ka Bharat and Kal ka Bharat, बहुत डॉक्टर जितेंद्र जी ने बहुत ही अच्छे से कॉन्टेक्स्ट को सेट किया है. And आज का भारत of course is growing leaps and bounds. There is not even an iota of doubt about it. All the credit rating agencies, they always peg India's growth will be X, and it is always 15% plus of that X. I don't know, I mean, what kind of hidden agenda these credit rating agencies like Moody's and all that. I don't know whether they are not always in mood to support India. So in today's context, I would say that India is likely to grow around 7.3% of GDP, and already 8% has been there in the first half. Well, the growth is continuing, and the Honorable Prime Minister has set the target of becoming a 30 trillion economy by 2047, that is Kal Ka Bharat. And the another very important visionary statement which Honorable PM has made is that will be net zero by the year 2070. And the third statement which I always refer to is about gas, because I retired as gas head of Indian Oil, and that is that the present around 6% of gas in the entire energy basket will be taken to 15% in I won't say time period, but in times to come, to make it to make this economy a gas-based economy, a more sustainable economy. So coming to the resilience part, what do we understand by resilient energy system? And very rightly so, integrating the upstream strength with the downstream excellence. I mean, it's an excellent topic, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, and it needs a lot of discussion across the country about it. And when we talk about upstream strength, it is not necessarily on exploration and production, E&P strength of the country. I would put it in three baskets. The first basket is the institutions which we have created. The institutions like PSUs, Indian Oil, GAIL, BPC, HPC, ONGC. So all these institutions were created long back, and this has given the upstream strength to the energy systems of this country. This is the first part, and along with that, a very strong Ministry of Petroleum, and we also created regulators so that the growth is all regulated and it eventually protects the interests of the consumers. So this is the part one. Part two, I would say, is the diversification which we have been able to achieve. Unfortunately, the energy which we consume, around 1,000 to 1,050 million metric tons of oil equivalent, there is a very high import dependency. Other than coal, which is around 55%, the oil and gas is, most of it is imported. Oil is around 30% of that entire energy basket, and gas is around 6%. And this oil, 30% oil, is again, we are dependent upon our imported sources by, I think, 85 to 87%. Only 15% is produced in India. And gas is around 50 to 55 million metric ton, which is consumed in a year, and out of which half is around 27 is produced within the country, and rest all is imported. So despite the fact that there is a very huge, very high import dependency, but we have kept a very diversified sources, long-term contracts which we have done in the case of LNG, and in case of crude we have done a lot of term contracts, and then we have our own sources on exploration and production sources, and then our companies have that kind of capability that they have gone to the other nations, other countries in exploration and production, and they have got that equity oil. So putting all of them put together, the diversified sources are there. It is not diversified only on like crude. We have around 100 types of different grades which we can process in the country. Geographically, we are diversified. There are around 30 different countries from where we import. So this is the second pillar of resilience. which we have created, that is diversification. The third pillar I would say is the policy alignment. I mean, there has been a very strong push, strong inertia is there from the government side. Government has created, Ministry of Petroleum has created that momentum, and they, over a period of time, consistently they have defined what energy security is. So to me, energy security is basically 3 A's: availability, accessibility, and affordability. Very importantly, affordability. The fourth pillar I would say now, which has got added, is the sustainability, because the Honorable Prime Minister has made that we should be net zero by year 2070. So whatever energy we consume, it should be sustainable. It should lead us to zero emission kind of scenario. So this policy alignment is very clear. The total clarity is there. Whosoever, I was operating in Indian Oil, I was there for 38 years. We knew that these are the objectives under which we operate. Now coming to the second part, that is downstream. I have handled downstream all my life, and to me, downstream and midstream means refineries. 23 refineries which we have in the country. The very long length of pipelines, crude pipelines, product pipelines, gas pipelines, and along with that the LNG infrastructure, because LNG, most of it is getting imported. So therefore we have in the country LNG import terminals. Now this strong downstream infrastructure has created a very strong resilience in the entire supply chain. You can very well imagine let me recount one of my very high points in my career. You know what was that? And that was in the year, I think, around 2017, when I was visiting, I was state head of Punjab, J&K and Himachal Pradesh, and I was visiting one far-flung areas where civilians were not allowed. Though civilians were staying there, tourists were not allowed. Beyond Leh, around 7-hour journey from Leh to Tuk-Tuk. Tuk-Tuk is the last place where tourists can go, and beyond Tuk-Tuk there is a place called the Akshi, where we commissioned LPG agency. And let me tell you, when I went there, they took me to the last village from where POK was visible. On one side, China was there, China occupied territory was there. So, and the last house, it was not a house, it was a mud झोंपड़ी जिसे बोलते हैं वो थी. And that lady, when that lady offered me tea along with the team, she offered us tea, and that LPG cylinder of Indian was there. मेरे लिए वो हाई पॉइंट है. तो मैंने कहा भाई एजेंसी तो हम खोल रहे हैं अभी, तो आप ये सिलेंडर कहाँ से आपके पास आता है? तो बोलती है कि भाई मेरे हस्बैंड जो हैं वो एक दिन ले जाते हैं और सिलेंडर लेते हैं, अगले दिन ले से वापस आते हैं, तो 2 दिन हमें लगते हैं. तो आप तो हमारे लिए भगवान स्वरूप आए. मतलब इतनी बड़ी स्टेटमेंट. आई हैड टीयर्स इन माई आईज. और मेरे साथ क्योंकि 7-8 लोगों की टीम भी थी, तो मुझे लगा पता नहीं इतना दूध भी होगा या नहीं. तो मैं उसकी मड किचन में घुस गया ऐसे करके. तो मैंने कहा दूध कम डालना, यहाँ ये बाहर से आए ना सब, तो बहुत कम दूध लेते हैं. तो मुझे पता था कि उतना दूध होगा नहीं, और वो बेचारी कहाँ से बनाएगी. बट लेकिन जिस श्रद्धा से उसने हमें चाय ऑफ़र की, और मैंने एक आर्टिकल भी लिखा था उस पर, विच वॉज पब्लिश्ड विद इन इंडियन ऑयल. आई मीन सर्विंग टू दी, जैसे बोलते हैं प्रोवर्बियली, द लास्ट स्टैंडिंग मैन और वुमेन in the queue. That has exactly happened literally with me, and still stands. I mean, this is the resilience. Now she will continue to get the cylinder. यूक्रेन की वॉर आ गई, हाई प्राइसेस एनर्जी के हो गए, डजेंट मैटर. हमारे अंकल बैठे हैं जो वहाँ पे, अंकल सैम ने कुछ बोल दिया, कर दिया, टैरिफ बढ़ा दिए, कम कर दिए, डजेंट मैटर. शी विल कंटिन्यू टू गेट द सिलेंडर. नाउ दिस इज द डाउनस्ट्रीम, अदर देन रिफाइनरीज, द मार्केटिंग logistic chain which we have created over a period of time. And Ministry of Petroleum representative is not there. Praveer will vouch for it. He also works for GAIL. So कोई भी डिसरप्शन छोटा सा भी होता है, कोई फ्लड आता है, कहीं कुछ कैलामिटी हो गई, तो सबसे पहले मीटिंग ऑयल कंपनीज की होती मिनिस्ट्री. और हमें बोला जाता है कि व्हाट कम मे, आई मीन कमर्शियल्स आर नॉट टू बी कंसिडर्ड एट ऑल. यू हैव टू सप्लाई, यू हैव टू मेंटेन अनइंटरप्टेड सप्लाई चेन. नाउ अगर ये रेजिलियंस नहीं है तो और क्या रेजिलियंस है. बट स्टिल आई वुड से इट इज़ ए वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस. और ये इसकी continuity has to be there, because the energy demand is growing. If we have to reach 30 trillion, then this 1,000 million tons of oil equivalent which we are consuming right now is going to cross 1,500 at least, and most of it is going to come from oil. It is continue to be oil and gas primarily for next I would say 2-3 decades. Of course, we are working very hard on the renewable side as well, because again I said the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister to have this 2070 as net zero emission year. So we are working on all the fronts. And one important point in the last I would like to make is the affordability in the country. Affordability becomes very, very important. जैसे वो बोलते हैं ना कि भाई हम अपने देश में, अगर वो लेडी, मैं उसका नाम भूल गया हूँ, मुझे भूलना नहीं चाहिए था क्योंकि वो हाई पॉइंट है करियर में, अगर उसको सिलेंडर उतने में ही देना है तो we have to, because LPG again is 50% imported in the country, so we have to import at a very competitive price. Therefore अभी एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर ने भी बोला कि स्टेटमेंट्स आर गोइंग अराउंड कि हम यहाँ से नहीं लेंगे, वहाँ से लेंगे, बट एट द सेम टाइम he made a very categorically clear statement that my job is to provide affordable energy to 1.4 billion people of this country. And from this side, I mean from the oil company side, IOC, GAIL, this is what we actually do. I mean government supports. कोई कुछ भी कहता रहे यहाँ से मत लो, वहाँ से मत लो, लेकिन हमें जहाँ से अफोर्डेबल मिलेगा हम वहाँ से लेंगे, ताकि हम अपनी जनता को, जो मैडम जो हमारी लेडी बैठी हैं त्याक्षी गांव के भी आगे, ताकि उसको सिलेंडर उसी प्राइस पे मिलता रहे. और ये कैसे होगा? दिस विल कंटिन्यू टू हैपन बिकॉज द अपस्ट्रीम स्ट्रेंथ्स विच वी हैव, विच आई जस्ट सेड, दे नीड टू बी इंटीग्रेटेड smoothly, very smooth, seamlessly with the downstream excellence which we have. I always say that upstream strength is to secure the molecule, because we don't have all the molecules available with us. So therefore, the upstream strength is to secure the molecule, and the downstream excellence is to deliver the molecule, and deliver the energy at an affordable price. That is what is important. So thank you very much. I think I have been able to give you a glimpse of the industry perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sandeep Jain. In fact, your case study of touching the last mile, customer, definitely it encompasses all 3 A's of energy security. So thank you very much for sharing that very important perspective. Now I would like to invite Shri Rajesh K. Mediratta ji, MD and CEO, Indian Gas Exchange IGX, to share his deliberations with the august audience.
Very good morning. Thank you, Jatinder ji, for this opportunity and setting the tone. And आपने टॉपिक इतना अच्छा रखा, रेजिलियंस, और सर ने इतना बढ़िया एक्सप्लेन कर दिया कि उसमें कुछ ऐड करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. सर ने जो रेजिलियंस का मीनिंग बताया ना, दैट इज़ रियली रियली वेरी एप्ट, दैट वॉट एवर हैपन्स इन द सिस्टम ऑन अपस्ट्रीम, डाउनस्ट्रीम, but a customer is getting served with the molecule. That's the resilience. And I have come from the electricity sector. I can tell you the same resilience is there in the electricity sector also. So it is really what we are talking about is happening in the system. Though we are not having sufficient hydrocarbons, we import almost 80% of hydrocarbons. But we are able to maintain that kind of resilience. That's great. So just that idea gets me one debate which is happening today is electrostate and versus petrostate. Actually, if you see any economy is either electrostate or petrostate, because depending on what you consume more, or what you have is resilience more in the sector. Like if you talk about petrostate, we can talk about hydrocarbons, to what extent we are dependent on outside sources for hydrocarbon. So if you say in terms of petrostate, we are not a petrostate. But definitely we need petro products and hydrocarbons, and that we are able to maintain. Though in electricity side we are actually a electrostate, because we are able to manage our electricity supply with most of internal resources. So here actually energy security comes first, and then of course affordability is second. Sustainability is still India, we are not talking about sustainability. We are talking about sustainability, but to the extent possible. So first our objective, as we understand, of the whole for the government is also that we should be energy secure. We should have energy affordability, what Jain sir talked about. And then we will also try to be sustainable, but of course that's not our primary objective. So with that, we are actually, if you see from electricity sector side, we really are maintaining good supply of internal sources, like we have lot of coal. So because of coal only, lot of coal we have, so we are able to maintain energy security in that sector. We also have a lot of RE potential, renewable energy potential, so that also is adding a lot to our strength in terms of security and resilience. And these two takes care of we being electrostate. But of course we need to depend on the equipment side, we somehow dependent on the imports in electricity sector. But in here, of course, we are largely dependent. So when we are largely dependent, so as sir said, that we have to get molecules from wherever possible, and we have to supply those molecules to the customers in the best possible manner. So if you see, upstream takes care of your getting molecules, and in that sense we are not well equipped, because we still import 80% of our molecules, and we have to sell it to people. On the petroleum product side, we have really fairly good level of competition, fairly good level of reach. But in case of gas, which is a gaseous molecule, here we still have to achieve few things, because we have not been able to reach out to each and every corner of the country. Though we have plans to do this, we have put a good set of network, pipeline network. We have about 25,000 kilometer network today. We plan to add 10,000 kilometer more. That will actually give us a reach to almost every nook and corner of the country. We also have domestic production, but of course there is not so much of upside there. So we are depending on the imports. So for LNG imports, we will be adding new terminals. Already we have 52 million ton of import capacity. We are not using that capacity full, but in terms of infrastructure, that's there. And for CGD, we already have put in place all the licensing which is required for bringing the whole sector, putting up the whole network in the city gas distribution area, and then trying to reach out to each and every household, each and every CNG station, possibility of putting new CNG station, and all the industry and commercial. And in terms of refinery, we are also one of the top 4 refiners in the world. So that way, on the hardware side, though we are not sufficient in terms of today in terms of infrastructure, but we have put everything in place, and we hope that in next decade we will be fully in place. Only thing I would like to add, one more pillar, what Jatinder ji said, that we need another pillar, sir, which is on the market side. Because if you put all the hardware and then you don't put a right software on it, then you probably would not be trying to give the best possible price to the customer. Because price is dependent on a lot of other things, like you have to frame your network market framework in a nice way, and there actually we have come in place. So as an exchange, I will bring my role, that what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a platform which will provide transparent, competitive, for competition for all the sellers to come, buyers to come and discover a price which is best for the consumer. And that's what we are always trying to do, is that how we should improve it further. So to the extent possible, today we have completed 5 years. We already are having all the users, major large users of the gas and large producers of the gas are already on the exchange. We last year we did something. This year itself we have done in 9 months about 5.6 million cubic meter per day kind of trade we are doing, and that is about 5.9 crore MMBTU. That's a decent number, but we need to go further. And for that, and we already have a model where we can actually facilitate trade for different locations. And at 22 locations the delivery is possible from our exchange, and that's what we would like to see, that how we can actually improve that further. So only idea which we are sharing with market and market participants is that we should do something on the tax side. For that the whole industry is trying. That GST, not having GST in place is really causing a lot of issue with the market participant, because the cost of gas increases without having GST in place. And second is that every state will have a different dynamics, and then you will see that the best price gas is not getting delivered because the taxation is not right in that state. So somewhere if it is being produced in a state where taxation is high, you won't find good customer there. Customer will go to those states where the taxation is less. Second area we have also been talking about is that how we can improve access for the participants. We need to improve upon the regulation, so that we have to bring in line with whatever is happening today in other sectors in the country. So we have done a lot of improvement in financial system by bringing UPI. UPI is like you do you make your transaction in 2 seconds. So something like that. We should also be able to provide a system whereby somebody who wants to buy gas, he should be able to buy gas in terms of not seconds, but of course in terms of hours, and he should be able to take delivery in terms of hours. So for that we need to improve upon regulation. That part is anyway being done by the regulator. And the tariff system also we need to improve, because we have currently a system where you have to look at distances for paying for the transmission tariff. That is also not the best way, because if you see, either you should have one common tariff for the whole of the grid. It's like UPI. You don't need to worry about what charges you have to pay on your transaction. You are simply paying. It's cost-free. But here, even if there is a cost, that cost should remain constant with the customer. So customers should know upfront that okay, I can buy gas from anywhere in the country, but my transmission cost is known to me, and and that is fixed, uniform, and my taxation is also fixed. So these two things we have been looking for from the policy makers, so that we are able to create a real downstream market which is well functioning. People should should have a seamless and smooth way of doing all of this. So this is our small bit on how we should be improving upon downstream thing. But of course, a lot of things are happening. It is all positive. And so far, in terms of resilience, whatever is happening, maybe we don't get the right price, but we are getting that molecule at whatever location we want, whatever quantity we want. In terms of gas only, we need to expand this further. On the liquid side, we are fully flush with all possibilities. But on gas side, we need to do further. So thanks, Jatinder ji, for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mediratta, for sharing your perspective and giving IGX take on this evolving energy ecosystem. Thank you very much. With this, I would like to invite Mr. Vishal Chopra, Chief Policy and Regulatory Officer, Kane India. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Jatinder ji. And thanks to PhD Chamber for basically focusing on a particular sector, hydrocarbon, on which the whole of the economy, I will say, of in India is dependent. So let me take you about my background. So primarily I have spent most of my time in downstream, and now I have entered into the upstream. So we have spoken a lot on the downstream. We have the veterans from the industry talking on the downstream side. So yeah, it's a complete ecosystem which we see where unless we get the molecules from top, we cannot have the downstream system running. So the downstream system is totally dependent upon the upstream. But the situation in India is like that the upstream sector is able to produce around, as we have already been discussed, about 10 to 15% is the only upstream capacity, production capacity that we have, and we are still dependent upon 85 to 90% import from global resources which are available across out of India. Coming to the energy sector, let me take back on the energy side. So if you see the growth in India, is on the energy side is one of the fastest in the globe, in the industry. So the energy growth is in the range of around 4 to 5%. And if you compare an average global growth on energy, it's around 1.5 to 2%. So in the next 10 to 15 years, India is going to have around, I would say, 25 to 30% growth will come from India. So India is a big market, so a lot of focus of international players, suppliers, manufacturers in the hydrocarbon sector. They are looking towards India. But how do we achieve it? How do we answer to the question, the growth which is coming? We talk about sustainability. Sustainability is also picking up, but the hydrocarbon growth is there. As per the recent reports, published reports, by 2040, the growth, the demand basically on the crude primarily, I will talk about, is around, will touch 500 million metric ton. So the current consumption is around 245 to 250 million metric ton, and by 2040 touching to 500 million metric ton. So that's the kind of demand which we see. So how do we answer that? We have a refining capacity of around similar about 240 to 250, which is available in India. So how do we strengthen the downstream side on the refining, which is very important? We spoke about LNG, we spoke about gas. Of course, 50% is being produced in India, but the more focus has to be there on the upstream crude side and the refining capacity. So that's one piece. Now, coming to the upstream, the government of India is supporting the upstream sector in a big way now. If you have heard recently, our Pradhan Mantri ji has spoken about in various forums about Samudra Manthan. So the focus has to come from the deep water resources which are available. So there is an untapped potential of 300 million barrels which is still lying below sea, below ground, on which all of the upstream companies have been told to look into that area and to drive more oil from the deep water. But the point is, upstream business is not an easy one. Of course, downstream is also not very easy, but upstream have a large capex investment. The gestation period is huge. It's a risky business. You drill well, whether you find oil or not, you have the reports, seismic reports are there, 3D, 2D reports are there with you. But unless you actually do a drilling inside the ground, you don't know what is coming out, what is the kind of resource we are going to hit, what are the other complications which you're going to get. So it's a risky business, huge capex, large gestation periods, And now, thanks to Government of India, that they're coming up with a lot of ease of doing business kind of regulations which have come now, and they are basically promoting more and more upstream companies to basically get into this business and to generate more oil out of it. So that's about upstream. So the vision is that by 15 to 20 years, India should be able to at least generate about 50% of the oil which is being consumed in India. So that's what the vision we all are now carrying forward from here, and that's the ask from the industry. From the Government of India, as already mentioned, that GST is one thing. Hydrocarbon sector is still not covered under GST, various reasons for that. So we are still looking for that this particular sector can be opened up on the physical security, where the complications and the sudden kind of surprises should not come on the physical security. That's one piece. The Government of India is also being requested to look into the investment in the upstream side, where they are looking towards it, whether they can also share some kind of cost sharing with the upstream promoters, upstream operators, so we can focus more on the upstream promotion. So with that, I will close my this particular inaugural speech, and thanks to PhD for giving me an opportunity for this, and looking forward to have the more interesting and better sessions going forwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vishal, and also some of the challenges you mentioned. One of the challenges being, GST ambit. So hydrocarbon should be under GST ambit. In fact, every year we give recommendation to Minister of Finance before budget, and in fact we are sure that some financially will come where this announcement will take place. So that's again very, very vital. Now with this, I'd like to invite our next speaker, Shri Parveer Agarwal ji, Executive Director GAIL and Chairman of CGUL, for sharing his deliberations. Over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, PhD Chambers of Commerce, for inviting me for this talk. So, I wanted to put across two perspectives, one on resilience later, and the first one on the future of hydrocarbon. So, I believe that eventually the green hydrocarbons, they will rule. Eventually by 2070, we have to go to net zero, and ethanol has already taken center stage. They are at 20%, and biogas is growing very fast, and that is at around, it is less than 1% now, and it is expected to grow very fast. And for ethanol as well as for biogas, we are going to use Indian 1G and 2G respectively, and maybe some part of 3G waste or whatever you call that. So that part will be used for making these renewable molecules. So in order to reach that stage, at present I will cover this gaseous path more importantly, because mainly as GAIL we are dealing with gas. And I want to tell you that natural gas, first of all, is AQI compliant. So natural gas produces, if you burn one molecule of CH4, it produces one molecule of CO2 and two molecules of H2O, and all these things are not covered in AQI. So one solution to the problem of the present pollution is natural gas. So that is one, and already as it was said, and we know that Indian government wants to increase the share of natural gas from present 6% to 15%, and it is actually not growing. So the pathway in my view is that presently natural gas with maybe less than 1% of biogas, and eventually that biogas increases from 1% to 20% to maybe eventually 100%. So that will be the pathway. And in order to achieve that pathway, we have to make sure that the natural gas reaches every nook and corner of the country. As Mediracha ji was also mentioning there, that they have created a platform where many hubs are there and gas can be sold. PNGRB has already opened up entire India. 307 GAs are there across India which have been allocated. So, best way to reduce pollution is to use more natural gas, although the other path, the electronic path, which electrostatic path you were saying, so that is there. I normally divide it into two parts, electron and molecule path. So that is the electron path wherein the EVs will move, and the other pathway will be the molecule pathway. And in this pathway, for liquids, of course, ethanol, blended petrol, and eventually maybe the entire ethanol will take over. And similarly for natural gas, the biogas will eventually take over. Even now, if we use natural gas, it is, as I was saying, it is first, it is AQI compliant. Second, another important factor with natural gas is that if you mix 10% of biogas with natural gas, 90% of natural gas and 10% of biogas, then this mixture is actually better than EV. How it is better than EV? Because if you are not using biogas, then what is happening, this waste, bio waste, is emitting CH4 molecules to the atmosphere. As it gets rotten, so it is sending CH4 molecules to the atmosphere, and that CH4 is being captured by biogas plants, and the CH4 is 26 times more harmful. It is having 26 times more harmful impact on GHG compared to CO2. So if you convert one CH4 to one CO2 by burning, then you are reducing the impact by 26 times. So that impact and the impact of 90% methane, so they get nullified. So eventually you are creating as much of negative impact on the environment as which is cancelled out by the positive impact of the biogas captured through these plants. So I want to propagate this idea that number one, natural gas itself is AQI compliant. So if it will not, it will improve the environment. So that is one. And if you are using this mixture, then it is better than EV. Second part. So and the third part is that biogas eventually has to ride on natural gas. So if CNG vehicles are there, then only biogas will take over in future. But in order to achieve that, we'll have to make sure that natural gas sector is incentivized through various means. All these agencies, including IGX, GAIL, MOPNG, we are all working for that. But one of the major reasons is the natural gas industry is today the highest taxed industry. In some of these states, in CUGL, where I'm presently chairman there, the total tax is on natural gas is more than the total tax on cigarette. Okay, so the sin products and the ultra luxury products, they invite tax of 40%, right, GST. While the tax on natural gas is more than that. Some of the gases which you are buying from Gujarat, we are paying 15% VAT in Gujarat. Then on transportation, on the transportation part, we are paying 5% GST or 18% GST depending on whether we are taking the input tax credit or not. Then 10% entry tax in UP, 12.5% sales tax in UP, and then 14% excise duty on that. So again, if you simply add on it, so it becomes so high. And I am pained to tell you that we are selling natural gas, CNG in Kanpur and Bareilly at 95 rupees per kg, and we are slowly losing business because this is more than the cost of petrol, while the basic cost was around maybe 30 rupees, 40 rupees. In the transportation, everything it adds up to 90, 95 rupees. And if this business dies, then biogas business will die. Biogas business, why it will die is because if biogas is not used in CNG, then biogas will be used in power plants. And today you know that renewable power is being generated at the cost of 2 rupees 50 paisa per unit, right? That is equivalent to $2 per MMBTU. We are paying, GAIL is paying $17 per MMBTU for biogas today. Through CBG CGD Synchro scheme, we are paying $17 per MMBTU. If if we don't buy it, and if CNG business dies, then we'll not be buying. Then it will be, if it is used for the other purpose, if it is used for power, they will get $2, and all these biogas plants will shut down. So it is very important. I've been telling at various forums that the tax structure in India has to be such that if fuel, which is clean fuel, which is AQI compliant fuel, which is also helping the industry, it is using away the waste. The waste is being converted to useful beans. So that kind of fuel should not be taxed, maybe. Rather than not being taxed, it is being taxed at the highest level, more than the taxes on the sin products. So, so that is one part of discussion. The other part of discussion which I wanted to say, as Jain sir was saying about resilience, IOCL example he was giving. In GAIL, I'll tell you there were 2-3 such stories. So what happened then when COVID started? So in the evening, our Prime Minister came and he said that from tomorrow the lockdown, that night lockdown will start. And that was a nightmare for us, because all the vehicles were to stop, okay, and the gas which was coming from our wells, which was 50% almost, at that time it was maybe a little more than that, the entire gas was to come. We were to take that gas into our pipelines, and the consumption of CGDs came down to 20%, and consumption of many other industries, that also came down. So we were to make sure that all the gas, all the ships which were also coming from all the parts of the world, it was difficult to send them back, because then we'll have to take or pay. So it was the COVID lockdown was going on, and we were in the control room making sure that how to use this gas. And so we found some ways. What we did was we started all the power plants, all the power plants in India which were stopped at that point of time. So we offered very cheap gas to them, and during night, like lockdown was there, but our people were moving around, NTPC people, the other power plant people, they were all moving to their plants to start their plants so that this gas can be consumed. Otherwise, it would be either we'll be incurring huge losses, or otherwise those wells, Bombay High and all those wells, if those valves are once closed, you are not sure whether it will revive again or not. So the show must go on. So resilience, so highest level of resilience have been shown by these companies, these PSUs, because maybe if there was a private company, they might have taken a different call. We had to take a call, such a call that it is good for the country. We had, otherwise a private company might have taken a call as per the contract, but we made sure that the show goes on, whatever gas is coming, it is consumed within India, and we also absorbed some of the losses at that point of time. Similar, the other stories about the war, Russia-Ukraine war happened, and it might have impacted oil companies a little bit, okay, but because India started buying oil from Russia, the oil prices did not shoot up that much. But in gas, the gas prices which were at $8, they went to $80. It became 10 times. And so $80 is equivalent to CNG without tax at 360 rupees. With tax, with kind of tax which we have, it will be 500, 600 rupees per kg. So that was the kind of, those were the kinds of prices which were there prevalent at that point of time. And we were the biggest importer, and I was looking after the RLNG part at that point of time, and it was really difficult for us to manage, and we managed. Nowhere you might have heard that the prices of gas were increased, the CNG prices, or they might have been increased by maybe 2, 3, 5% or whatever. And for entire fertilizer fraternity, we continued to give gas at the earlier rates. We very carefully we had to handle, and as a country we had shown the resilience, that come what may, even if the import prices go up as high as 10 times, then also we had some flexibilities in some of the contracts. So wherever the contracts were cheaper, we started buying more gas from them, and so we did a lot of things to make sure that end consumer is not impacted. So future is, I think, it's going to be very good for India in the hydrocarbon sector. I believe that because the ecosystem is ready. Entire India, you put your finger anywhere in India, it will be one geo or other. So entire land has been allocated to various companies. Now there are so many companies, maybe around 40 companies who are working in this space in various sectors of natural gas, and natural gas is naturally cheaper. The contracts which we have on natural gas, they are normally 30% cheaper than the equivalent price of oil. And natural gas being gas, it offers more surface area. So it is normally 10 to 20%, 30% more efficient. So natural gas will always be cheaper than oil, even up to maybe 50-60% percent, even with the current set of contracts which we have. So in future, it is said that LNG glut will be there. So if that happens, then the prices will be further cheaper. But even with the present kind of contracts, the gas-linked, crude-linked contracts, they are almost 30% cheaper than the equivalent amount of energy in the crude. So it will be always cheaper. That's what I wanted to say. The natural gas is very good for the environment. It is good to be for the country, and eventually it will provide a very good pathway for waste, for use of waste, 2G waste, which is parali, for example, or maybe the waste in the jungles, the old leaves which are going to fall from trees. So all those things, they have to be removed. So that will be converted to biogas, and that will take over by 2017. So thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Agarwal. In fact, this was very important in terms of making us understand about the tax regime also that needs to be totally, I think, recalibrated with these changing market scenarios. In fact, in this session, we got to many insights, not only about the different facets, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and what course corrections are required. We got to understand about the upstream and the downstream integration, and both are very, very vital components. In fact, both of these sectors, even midstream also is again equally important, and as we are progressing, I'm sure that with more thrust from the Government of India in terms of making the upstream, the midstream and downstream sector more congenial, more in sync with the market needs, with also at the same time keeping a buffer with lot of geopolitical tensions, I am sure that all these three sectors, the upstream, midstream and downstream, definitely we will, go to next levels as we progress, and there will be more synergy, because as rightly said by Mr. Jain, the 3 A's are very important: the affordability, the adaptability, the acceptability. So these are very important things. I am sure in times to come we'll be in fact gearing in for more and more, not only for profit maximization for businesses, but at the same time also meeting the consumer demands at a very, very affordable price. So thank you very much, sir, for being a part of this very important keynote session. And now we break for tea for 15 minutes, and then we have very, very two important technical sessions. Our moderators are here with us, and also our speakers are also here. And before that, I'll request my team to kindly felicitate our guests with a memento. I'll bring Harshita to kindly.
Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Let me have the pleasure of inviting my co-panelist, Sri Vishal Chopra, and a round of applause for him, please. Sri Vishal Chopra. Sri Anand Matthew. We welcome with another round of applause. Sri Anand Matthew. Okay. As per the schedule, there's a little change. We are starting this session, and Sri Vinod's session will be joining in between. So at that time, we will take a short stop or halt in our discussion, and after he finishes off, we will continue with that. Let me first introduce myself, why I am here as a role of moderator. My background, I have spent about 25 years, quarter of a century with Indian Oil Corporation, and 7 years with combined with Oil Coordination Committee and Petroleum Planning and Analysis Cell of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Besides working in the oil industry for 30 years or so in India, I have also worked several years in East African countries handling international trade there. So that's in brief all about me. I'll be introducing my co-panelist one by one, and then again we will come back to the topic. Sir Vinod Chopra ji. Vinod ji is joining. Vishal ji.
Yeah. Good morning. I think this is my second session. I have already given a brief. So, our Joint Secretary Vinod Seshan ji will join very soon, which has been conveyed to me by PhD Chambers. So, he's already reached. About me, so I have spent around 28 to 30 years in the oil and gas. Started my career with Bharat Petroleum for 20 years. Then I moved to Naira Energy, where I spent 7.5 years. And then I have joined Vedanta Group, Kane Oil and Gas, Kane India, the company which we all know is the largest private operator in India in upstream now. So my role is I handle the policy and regulatory for this company. And so that's about me, Vishwas ji. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Sri Anand Matthew.
Thank you, sir, for the privilege of being here. A very good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Still good morning. So, I am Anand Matthew. I am the co-founder and CEO of Kalishe. It's a startup company from Northeast India. We work in the petroleum biotechnology sector. We started working in upstream sector by developing biotech solutions for the particular sector. And then eventually we developed AI solutions for the downstream as well. And now we are the largest petroleum biotech company in the country, giving solutions to the upstream sector and other sectors as well. We work largely in the decarbonization sector as well, wherein carbon capturing is a major tech for the refineries as well. And we are still exploring opportunities to make the oil and gas sector more sustainable. So that is what we are focused at. We have a huge IP which is very much based on industrial biotechnology and industry AI for oil and gas sector primarily. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much. I'll look forward for sir feedback on the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand. So once more, welcome with good morning for this first technical session of Hydrocarbon Summit 2026. As a panel, as a whole, we all are thankful to PhD Chambers of Commerce and Industry for organizing this event and giving us an opportunity to be here to share some thoughts with all of you. As you know, the theme, as it is written over here, theme of Hydrocarbon Summit in India's energy resilience, integrating upstream strength with downstream excellence for sustainable growth. I think nothing is left over. So far the hydrocarbon sector is concerned, we are covering upstream, we are covering downstream, and also taking care of sustainability part. We have heard the speakers in the inaugural sessions. They have spoken briefly, but touching several points pertaining to upstream, downstream, refining, gas sector, etc. Now in this technical session 1, our topic is navigating geopolitical challenges and building downstream operations. Now, we have also subtopics subject to the time availability. We will try to cover some more areas which are impact of global sanctions and tariff, latest and hot topic. Supply chain diversification and crude basket flexibility, another area which is pertaining to today's energy sector. Refining and export optimization. Refining part was touched a little bit in the inaugural section. Sustainable practices and cleaner technologies. Policy advocacy, we have Chopra ji, for incentive and financing. Now coming back to the topic of the day, let me set the foundation and then our esteemed panelists will share their views. The topic is navigating geopolitical challenges. The question arises, in this today's turmoil world, let us try to understand what do we mean by geopolitics. Then we will come to geopolitical challenges. Name itself says geopolitics is geography plus politics. So geopolitics is something where the states, that means the nations or the governments, and within inverted comma, non-state actors also, terrorists, militants, They use some geographical spatial features. That means they use some canals, some rivers, some approach roads, mountains, even space to achieve their objectives. We are not disputing objectives are good or bad, but the geopolitics is the game played by the nations and non-state actors to achieve their certain objectives using their control over some geographical facilities. There are several examples, we will talk about that. That means they use their might, firepower, use their bombing capacity, military might to have a control of that facility so that they can dominate in certain areas either on trade or business. Now, if we talk about geopolitics, we'll have to speak also about something called geoeconomics. Alone geopolitics will not serve today's world. Geoeconomics is a combination of geography and economics. Geoeconomics is a tool. Against similar application like geopolitics, but not a single shot is fired. Not a single rocket is launched, but there are weapons which are nothing but economic parameters. There comes embargo, sanctions, tariffs. There are several factors comes under geoeconomics. So when we talk about geopolitical challenges, we'll have to take care of geoeconomic challenges also. A combination, a deadly combination of geopolitics and geoeconomics is ruling today's world. Let us focus it on hydrocarbon sector. And when we talk about hydrocarbon sector, let us focus on petroleum sector. Unfortunately, the world has been divided today into two parts, have and have-nots. So a few countries have the reserve availability of petroleum oil and natural gas, and the rest, including India, belong to the group have-not. As a result, the have-not group is heavily dependent on the group who are having this. So, traditionally, since the days India got independence or even prior to that, till 2026, we are heavily dependent on import and supply from external sources. Let us talk about a little bit of energy basket of India. We have topic of this particular basket, crude basket. But before coming to crude basket, let us talk about energy basket of India. Primary energy, we talk about primary energy. So primary energy consists of mainly petroleum products. It's liquid as well as gas. We have coal, which is plenty in availability in India. We have nuclear energy, and we have renewable resources. Renewable resources, we are making lot of inroads and lot of progresses. Hydroelectricity, also there are a lot of new projects are coming up under construction. Nuclear energy. Recently, Shanti Bill has been passed. So, India in years to come, before 2047, today India's contribution of nuclear energy into energy basket is merely 5 or 6%, 5 to 6%. And the capacity is likely, we have a target, very, very ambitious target to take it to 100 gigawatt from presently 5 or 6 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt on the 100th year of independence in 1947. Welcome, sir. Let us have a big round of applause for Mr. Vinod Seshan. Kumar, please.
So in fact, now we have the opportunity to have Mr. Vinod session with us, and in the morning session, everybody was asking for you, sir, कब आ रहे हैं? मैंने कहा अभी आने वाले हैं. So in fact, now it's nice you are here. In the keynote session, we had a discussion on again how we can integrate the upstream and downstream. Downstream particularly for sustainability angle, and upstream for more about from the economic viability also. Exploration is a big thing, and how to actually get the molecules, which are in sync with the growing needs of the industry. That was discussed. And in this session, we are again discussing some of the very important aspects of the downstream, but we'll be, after, 2 or 3 speakers, once they speak, we will be having the keynotes, speech from your side, which will be a standalone speech. Right, sir? Okay, Mr. Viswas, you can take. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. I think it's nearly midday, so I should say near good afternoon. Sorry, I could not come in the morning session. These things do happen probably, but I'm lucky to be here. I was very keen to come to PhD invitations because I've been receiving some communications from PhD on and off, but never had an interaction with your industry body very detailed. We are in the process of doing a lot of work in Ministry of Petroleum in the upstream. So year 2025 has been a very landmark year for us in terms of major overhauls to our mother legislation. We've had major overhauls to the rules and a massive overhaul of the contracting itself. The contracts have been thoroughly upgraded. So we've had those clauses which have never been there for last 20-25 years. Such introductions have been made. So 26 we see as an important year where basis the legislations and basis the rules, contracts, upgrades, we want to now move into the incentives domain. So we've corrected the legislation and the rules. We want to now correct the incentivization and the policies. So we see this year as very, very pertinent, not just from incentivization and policies, but also from initiatives. So all of you would have seen Prime Minister announcing the Samudra Manthan, which is the massive program for upstream. There's also a tremendous focus on Make in India and Make in India for the world. So we are assuming and we are making all efforts to ensure that 2026 is able to convert those announcements into credible realities where it's not just a bounded signed MOU but a grounded MOU. So that kind of goal is what we've set for ourselves. So we'll have industry bodies playing a very important role. We have significant amount of drilling related work, significant amount of work related to E&P services, and of course we will also have work related to manufacturing on which we will be working. So I am sure PhD Chambers has a role to play with all your industry members, but it's also imperative that you engage very deeply with the ministry. The way you've invited us, it's also important that you also come and engage with us to be partnering on some initiative, the specific research-based, policy goal. That's what should be the goal of an industry body. And I'm here primarily to understand what kind of work you do, what kind of conferences you do, what's the focus you have on hydrocarbons, and whether you would probably really be a great partner for us. That's also an understanding which I want to have. So very happy to be here for this session. We look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. So with your permission, we'll continue with this session, what a technical session we are continuing. So we had put a break on that Shanti bill, which has been passed in the Parliament. We were talking about nuclear energy, what is the future we are having from 5 gigawatt to 100 gigawatt in the year of 100th year of independence of India in 2047. I'll pick up the thread, but meanwhile I'll request my esteemed co-panelist Vishal Chopra ji to add his views about the present topic. Over to you.
Thank you, Kumarji. And nice to share the panel with our Joint Secretary Vinod Seshanji. So he has been one of the main guiding force for us in the upstream sector, because we do a lot of work with Government of India from Vedanta Kane Group. And as Vinodji has spoke about year 2025, which is a remarkable year for the upstream. Let me tell you, he has spoke very little on that. I will just throw some more light on that. So this particular industry is highly regulated. As we know, it's a hydrocarbon upstream sector. And the industry has been requesting a lot of big reforms. Those were not normal reforms, a lot of big reforms. Like one example I would say, like the life of the well to be given to the operator till the end of life. So generally it is for 10 years, then extension you should apply, then you get another 10, 20 years like that. But now that kind of reform has been passed, and it was thanks to Government of India, thanks to Ministry of Petroleum, that they have agreed. And there are a couple of other things like ease of doing business. I will not go into details of that, how the sanctions are now very easy, how the things have become so easy in at the regulatory side, because the purpose, the focus of this government and ministry is that this is the year, next 2 to 3 years, 4 years, we should basically set a kind of a framework, a kind of a platform where the India should move towards large exploration base, large discoveries, and of course large production of hydrocarbon. As sir has mentioned about Samudra Manthan, which is the prime focus for everyone, including our Prime Minister has spoken in various forums. So deep water, which is a high capex business and a long gestation period, but we as an industry are looking towards that. So that's about on the upstream from my side. On the downstream, I will come back later, Vishwasji. So I just want to cover the upstream here. On the downstream, since I also have experience of downstream, so there are a couple of things which you mentioned. I'll come back later on that.
Very nice input.
Yeah.
When we go to the market to buy a product, we want to see ourselves, we want to feel it. Petroleum product is such, whether it is petrol or diesel in your car or a gas we are cooking, we don't see it, we just buy it. Now we have a speaker, Anand Matthews, who deals with such a topic which we don't see through our naked eyes, that is microorganism. I request Anand Matthews to throw some light on the role of microorganism in our petroleum sector. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. That's one of the best introductions that I have got before. So I'm very honored to be with Vinod sir today here. Reason is, Vinod sir, I have not met him apart from many other conferences. I always meet him in conferences. First meeting was in one of the events that was offered by DGH. So every time when I meet him, he will give me something new. So today I'm expecting sir will give me something new. So he has been always a driving force. Thank you, sir. So I grew up believing, so I come from that background where I grew up believing, I'm from Kerala, I grew up believing that in refinery, either refinery is black or dark black. That was my perception about refinery. Then I joined petroleum engineering, and then I started studying about it. Then I realized crude oil is not always black. It's a little brownish color. Now today when I walk into a refinery, I see it's entirely changed. So now I can see solar panels, I can see water treatment plants, I can see waste management systems, I can see even hydrogen buses somewhere standing, hydrogen processing units, and you name it, it's there. So right now, I believe sustainability is not in Vences, it has come out. Now when we started in 2018, this was not the real case that time, right? So we wanted to become an Indian alternative for technology. That was our vision. And then the only thing that we would know about was oil and gas, because that was my background, and then we wanted to do something in that. So the approach was very different. Why it was different is because, first of all, we were from Northeast. I was studying in Northeast, and the diversity over there in terms of ecology and everything is very, very good. So we found a particular solution for a big problem in oil and gas industry, which is sand influx problem. So we solved it by using a microbial solution. So this microbe, what it does is it binds the sand grains together. So it's a natural process. We are doing it in a controlled environment. So this actually was a very big step. So it was initially supported by PSUs only. MOPNG also supported that time. So the solution was in the nature. We took it from there and applied it in the oil and gas sector. Similarly, if you talk about this entire microorganism spectrum, there is a microorganism that can produce an element in the earth, and it can actually reduce it also. For example, if it is hydrocarbon, there will be a microorganism that can synthesize fuels, and it can degrade also the same thing. So that is the forte of this microorganism, and it is widely diversified, and there is so much that you can do in that. So then once we started with that microorganism, slowly we started building a repository of things. So we have the largest repository of microorganisms in the country, which can be used in different sectors of oil and gas. So right now we developed a system. Sir, while I'm talking to you, I told you about, we developed something in carbon capturing also. That is also microbes only. So here also this process is the same. Microorganism will consume the carbon from CO2, and it will convert it into something which can be then downstream process to make some valuable products out of it. So basically there is a way to do it, but then you have to have that infra to be built, because it is not available right now with anybody. So you have to build it. So for us, what was very, I must say it was a blessing, because the government helped us in building this up. Specifically the MOPNG, they helped us a lot in bringing this to oil industry, because when we deployed first, it was during COVID time. So I was trying to sell microorganism during COVID time. So that was, even that time, I got the support that I wanted. So microorganism is something, if you see, sir, biotechnology is something that will grow over the time, will be able to help in sustainability and bringing sustainability into practice. Thank you.
Anand, I would like to mention that, recently there was a review at the highest levels by Prime Minister himself, where there was this very specific mention that can there be bacterial techniques, injection techniques, and can there be support, wells, bacterial injection support wells, through which enhanced oil recovery can be. So, biotech, I'm a strong believer, there has always been a great potential, and every country has already made progress in that. India too has done very well in biotech. Now, is there something which you have been working on for the upstream mature fields?
I will just like to add here, what we generally do, upstream guys knows, that we use EPR, enhanced polymer recovery we call it right now. But that is not a bio thing, which is a polymer. We mostly import, there are duties on that. It's a costly component which we do, and then we use it. So of course, Vinod sir, that's a very possible opportunity that we should see in the bacterial thing or microorganisms that can help us. So yeah, Matthew, Anand, over to you.
Yeah, sir, it is very much possible. So, so it's all about the surfactant that it produces. So if you plan it very well, so it can be a very good opportunity to be. So there have been studies done by ONGC also to do this, but it is not widely accepted, because you have to make sure that the microorganism, the bacteria that you're using, that produces that particular surfactant in that particular rate, which actually enhances everything. So it is very much possible, sir. If given an opportunity, definitely I would be happy to explain this to you, how this entire science works. But it is very much possible. So this is not a new thing, but if with the advanced system that we have right now, we will be able to put it in practice, and recovery is really possible in that sense.
A very interesting development, and hoping for more in that field. Anand spoke about Northeast in his opening statement. Northeast is the birthplace, or you can say it is the maternity block of Indian petroleum industry. You think of anything first in India about the petroleum sector, Northeast flags high. You think of the first discovery of oil, drilling of oil well, it is in Northeast. It happened 6 years later, it was done in Pennsylvania by Drake. You talk about the first refinery of India, that was in Margarita in Northeast. You talk about first refinery with petrochemicals, that is in Bongaigaon. You talk about first pipeline of transportation of petroleum oil in India, that is also from Northeast, from Guwahati to Siliguri. So Northeast has a very prominent space in Indian hydrocarbon sector, and till today we have Digbai refinery, the oldest operating refinery in the world possibly. Coming back to the topic we were talking about, we have a chapter or subtopic, crude basket flexibility. We need energy, we need crude oil. So there we scout all over the world. There is no discrepancy that we will be buying from this country or we will not buy from that country. Principally, we are very clear. In the first session, Mr. Jain has mentioned about 3 A's: availability, affordability, and accessibility. So wherever we get crude oil in best commercial term, we will be buying. We make, India doesn't make any difference. We'll buy from Russia, we'll buy from Venezuela, we'll buy from Guyana, we buy from US. There is no discrepancy about that. Latest news about the bilateral trade, free trade agreement, that India will be buying crude oil and others, natural gas from US. It's nothing new. Late 60s and early 1970s, US was supplying crude oil to Indian coast. Then came 1971, the birth of Bangladesh. US was siding with Pakistan, they became unhappy, and since then, 1971, US stopped supplying crude oil and other petroleum products to India. So 1971, just reverse it, 17. 2017, date is 2nd October. The things turned. The first crude oil loaded, to be precise, very large crude carrier, VLCC, named MT New Prosperity, birthed at Paradip Port. And that again began the second innings of bringing crude oil from US market. So we have the flexibility of getting crude oil, natural gas, whether it is Qatar or any other country, India will continue to buy for meeting its requirement, keeping in mind 3 A's. Then I'll begin intervening in between. Chopra ji, do you have anything to add on this?
What's the, sorry, I missed it.
No, we were talking about crude oil basket flexibility.
Okay. Availability. So yeah, we talk about the global geopolitical scenario as you have already touched upon, Kumarji. So there are very large suppliers globally. I will talk about the countries from where India import. We import from Middle East, we import from Russia, we import from South America, some part of Africa. But if you talk about the large crude basket, again, it keeps on, Vishwaji, depending upon the geopolitical scenario, our suppliers, our basket from where we get keeps on changing. If you specifically talk about crude only. So there is a phase where we talk about sanctions, right? We talk about tariffs which has been put by one part of the world, and then the focus has been shifted to particular crude supplying countries from where we can get a crude at a better rate, because at the end of the day, from wherever India economy has to be dependent upon the price at which we are importing crude, right? So for a couple of years, our Indian refiners were importing crude from Russia. Then the things got settled. We again the focus has been shifted to crude from Venezuela, from Middle East. So this is depending upon the geopolitical scenario. The import of the crude keeps on changing. But the point here is, for how long we should be dependent? Next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So because the demand is going to increase, as I said, right now we have a demand of around 245 to 50 million metric ton per annum, which is going to increase by 2040. That's a report available that it is going to increase to 500 million metric ton. So there is a strong need that the sovereign crude has to be produced in India, and that should be the focus. So is this the question you were looking for, Mr. Kumar?
Perfect.
Thank you.
So we are now touching the areas of sanctions, tariffs, and resilience. Let us talk about sanction and tariff first. Sanction and tariffs is nothing new in the trade, or to be precise, in international trade. Every country does it with the objectives to protect its domestic industry, whatever may be the reason behind. So behind imposition of sanctions or tariff, there are feeling of nationalism. Now, when we go to the international market, that comes about supply of hydrocarbon or energy sector, we face this kind of blockade. So this tariff comes under two categories. One is straight tariff and another will be the non-tariff barriers. So barriers we face in the international trade so far when we go for asking for hydrocarbons, two types of obstacles we face. So that is tariff barrier and non-tariff barrier. Coming back to the issue of resilience and supply chain resilience, Indian supply chain of hydrocarbon sector and specifically to the petroleum sector is highly resilient. So, as we have...
Vishwaji, sorry to stop here. On the tariffs, because we have experienced tariffs very closely in my last role, so the couple of things would like to add in here. So when the tariff hits a particular company, so things are very uncertain. Everything goes into uncertainty, I'll tell you, whether it's EU sanctions or US sanctions. At that point of time, then you realize that there are so many things that we are dependent upon the Western world. Like on the insurance, there are insurance companies like P&I Club. Of course, Government of India is now working towards having its own insurance sovereignty in India, because large insurance companies are still kind of controlling the insurance, primarily from the European and Western side. Then of course about the transactions which still happens in dollars. So when the tariff hits, so the dollar transaction becomes difficult. So, and of course there are always a problem of secondary sanctions which also comes when somebody operates with a sanctioned company. So we have to look into the opportunities, options which the Government of India is also looking towards it. Like the P&I Club government is seriously looking whether we can have overall insurance pools, and similarly for the shipping also, that the steps have already have been started towards that. The shipping industry has to be also, the India should have more control on the Indian shipping and logistics system. So these are 2-3 things which are very important, which I spoke about. One is on the insurance, shipping, and of course on the transaction which happens in the forex. So there are ways where China and Russia and other part of the world is already has seen it, gone through it, waded through it, and so yeah, so that's about the tariffs things, Kumarji.
Okay, we were talking about resilience, and with this we will conclude that, and if there are any questions, we will take 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Let me complete that resilience part. Indian petroleum sector is highly resilient. We have demonstrated number of times, whether it is in the domestic front, natural calamity or any other kind of thing, or if it is a global event like COVID-19 situation, everything came to a standstill at that point of time, but petroleum industry kept on ticking, performing, delivering. Not a single home had experienced that gas was not available to cook in the kitchen, or any industry, whatever was operating at that point of time, had faced any difficulty. So industry in India, particularly petroleum sector, is highly resilient. Supply chain, we just touch it because of paucity of time. Supply chain has improved a lot in last 2 or 2.5 decades. We cannot imagine a situation when an imported tanker would come, float on high sea, would be used as a floating storage. As and when situation arises, we will berth the tanker, discharge and meet the product requirement at a center or at a market which was crying for product. That was the situation at Kandla, Vizag at one point of time. We used to import tankers fully loaded and floating months together. Nation was bleeding through the nose, paying in US dollar damages. From that, we have come to a situation where supply chain across the country, whether it is Registan or whether it is an ice-capped mountain, whether it is northern part of India or southern tip of India, everywhere product is available, courtesy improved supply chain of petroleum products in India. All the department, Ministry of Shipping, Ministry of Railways, Roadways, everybody has come up over the years, and it has helped petroleum sector to maintain supply at every nook and corner of the country. And with this, we are closing the discussion on behalf of this group. If any question is there, we will take 1 or 2 questions from the audience. One question, yeah.
Accessibility and affordability. Okay. तो सर जैसे अभी आपने बताया कि 2040 तक 400 MMT की वो आ जाएगी डिमांड. सर क्रूड के लिए आज के टाइम में हर कंट्री आपस में लड़ रही है. हमारे पास अवेलेबिलिटी ज़्यादा सालों की नहीं है पूरे अर्थ पे. तो उसके लिए हमारा क्या प्लान है? बिल्कुल.
तो मैं आपको ये बोलना चाहूँगा कि विशाल मेंशन समथिंग वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. ही सेड आज हमारी कंजम्पशन 245 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन के आसपास है क्रूड ऑयल, और हम मैक्सिमम इंपोर्ट ही करते हैं. आवर डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्शन इज बिटवीन 10% to 12% ऑफ आवर कंजम्पशन. तो एक सोल्यूशन क्या निकालना है इज वन थॉट, एंड व्हाट आर वी डूइंग इज अनदर थॉट. तो सोल्यूशन क्या निकाल सकते हैं? तो प्लीज़ आप बैठ जाइए. तो सोल्यूशन के लिए 3 रास्ते हैं. एक है डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाओ, सेकंड इज टू इंपोर्ट मोर क्रूड ऑयल, थर्ड इज टू सिक्योर इक्विटी ऑयल ओवरसीज. तो इक्विटी ऑयल अर्थात हम किसी और देश में अगर ऑयल एंड गैस प्रोड्यूसिंग एसेट है उसमें हम अपना शेयर बना लें, इंपोर्ट कर लें या डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्शन करें. सो डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्शन हमारा 10% है, कोशिश जारी है. इंपोर्ट हमारी बढ़ती रहेगी. वो कुछ लोग बोलते हैं अच्छा है, कुछ लोग बोलते हैं अच्छा नहीं है. कंट्रीज लाइक जापान ऑल्सो हैव एन ओवर 95% इम्पोर्ट. सो इम्पोर्ट करना गलत बात पर से है नहीं, as long as you are able to do it economically, क्योंकि यहाँ पे भी कभी कभी प्रोडक्शन करना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है. तो आज के डेट में क्रूड का दाम है अराउंड $60 $65 के आसपास ही चल रहा है. तो कुछ मैच्योर फील्ड्स ऐसे हैं जहाँ प्रोडक्शन करना $40 $42 होता है, और फिर उसको ट्रांसपोर्ट करके प्रोसेस करने में भी आपको $50 हो ही जाते हैं. इज इट बेटर टू इम्पोर्ट इन सच केसेस? वो भी एक सवाल है. बट हैविंग सेड दैट, इंडिया के ऑफशोर एरियाज में एक्सप्लोरेशन कम हुई है, तो इसी के ऊपर एक नज़र रखते हुए प्रधानमंत्री ने समुद्र मंथन घोषित किया है. तो माय आंसर टू यू इज, दीज आर थिंग्स विच आर वेरी वेरी इंटरडिपेंडेंट. हमें तीनों ही रस्तों पे आगे बढ़ना चाहिए और प्राइमरी फोकस रहनी चाहिए कि इंडिया के एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी को प्रायोरिटी दिया जाए. So,
जो मुझे समझ में आया, उसको हमें क्रूड की डिपेंडेंसी से हटना पड़ेगा, लाइक हाइड्रोजन और दूसरी चीजों पे. ठीक है, और मैं अपनी मेन टॉपिक पे आ रहा हूँ जिसके लिए मैंने बात शुरू की है. और मैंने एक छोटा सा सोल्यूशन निकाला जिससे हम वेस्ट टू एनर्जी पे हाइड्रोजन को हम काफी लो कॉस्ट पे ₹100 के आसपास प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं. फर्स्ट थिंग, से ही हम बायोमीथेन से ही हम डाइवर्स बना के एथनॉल मैथनॉल को भी प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं. दिक्कत क्या आ रही है इंडिया के अंदर कि सॉल्यूशंस के ऊपर फोकस नहीं किया जा रहा. पैसे के ऊपर तो फोकस किया जा रहा है कि इतना वो बढ़ जाएगा, लेकिन R&D के लिए इससे हम पॉल्यूशन को रोक सके और इनके हम अपने सॉल्यूशंस निकाल सके, इसके ऊपर फोकस नहीं हो रहा. इस वजह से इंडिया पीछे हो रहा है. तो उसके ऊपर मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँगा.
I will just add one point and then ask Anand to join. देखिए, बात 50-50 बोलूँगा. ऐसा नहीं है कि मंत्रालय नहीं कर रही है या सरकार नहीं करना चाहती है. इस बजट में देखेंगे तो सबसे प्राइमरी अनाउंसमेंट इज ऑन CCUS. दूसरी अनाउंसमेंट इज ऑल्सो फॉर ऑल्टरनेटिव एनर्जी. सो सिग्निफिकेंट फोकस इज देयर. हाइड्रोजन मिशन भी लास्ट टाइम अनाउंस किया गया था, न्यूक्लियर मिशन भी अनाउंस किया गया था. सो एनर्जी इज सच इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द इकोनॉमी और गवर्नमेंट कि हमारे देश में एनर्जी का थोड़ा भी प्रॉब्लम हुआ, इट विल अफेक्ट एवरी सिंगल पर्सन. तो ये हम स्ट्रेट ये भी नहीं बोल सकते हैं कि सरकार उस पर या गवर्नमेंट या स्कीम्स या कंपनीज उस पर फोकस नहीं दे रही है. हो रही हैं एफर्ट्स, बट यू आर ऑल्सो राइट इन द सेंस दैट R&D पे हमें और इन्वेस्टमेंट करना चाहिए. दुनिया में रिजर्व्स ख़त्म आज के डेट में नहीं हो रही है, लेकिन आप जो बता रहे हैं कि फ्यूचर में ख़त्म हो सकती है, तो उसको हमें बढ़ाने के लिए वी विल हैव टू फाइंड ऑल्टरनेट एनर्जी एंड वी विल हैव टू इन्वेस्ट इन R&D. Efficiency has to be improved.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, because of paucity of time, we are closing it here. We'll be here around. We'll be here. Anand, करके close कर लेते हैं.
Actually, for your concern, I am very happy that you raised that question. That's good. I mean, but what I have to tell you is, if you look at 10 years before and today, we have every tools that's available for accessing the funds that is given by the government. I can tell you vociferously because I am a part of this. I am here because of that. So that is there. So now it depends on you how hard you are going to work on that, because it is not going to come to you. That's simple as it is. If the day when I started, when we were in Northeast, we got opportunities. If I say it never came to us, we had to reach out to it, and so many doors got closed. So many doors closed. But then see, you have to keep seeking. So I appreciate your vision is great. There is tools available. I'm telling you. So there is opportunities, and I'm sure there is a lot of such research grants, support that's available, which will help you to scale what you're doing. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you to the audience for your patience hearing. And with this, I understand still there are a few questions. We will be available post-break. We can interact that time. And it was a lovely discussion, and presence of Sri Vinod session is really icing on the cake. We are happy we got you in this forum. And thanking you all once again on behalf of this group. We are closing this session here. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We'd like to felicitate our domain experts and our chief guest with a memento.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening this session. It was really wonderful to see you here and gracing the event. So we are going straight away for technical session 2, which is going to, led by Sri M.K. Vishwas-ji, who is Executive Director in Risk Management, heading Risk Management and TQM in GAIL India. And for this particular session, we would like to invite Sri M.K. Vishwas sir to moderate this session. We have our, I would say, Sri V.K. Mishra sir. He is a former Director of Finance, Petronet and LNG Limited. And not only he was associated with us as a Petronet, as a Director of Petronet, he was the Chairman of Hydrocarbon Committee of PSG Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He led this entire ecosystem for many years. I would like to request to Sri Mishra sir to please join us for this particular session. We have Sri Arindam Mitra ji, who is Assistant Vice President Business Development, Indian Gas Exchange. I would like to request to Sri Mitra ji, Arindam Mitra ji, to be here and to join us for this session. And through this, I would like to request to Sri Vishwas sir to please start this session, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rupesh ji, for the introduction. I hope that all who are going out can also be back here, and hopefully we'll start the discussion immediately. And just to be very accurate from my side, in the previous sessions we have talked about many subjects, and where we talked about the AAA, which is the accessibility, availability and affordability. I would like to add two more A's here. One is that adaptability and another is the acceptability. Suppose the products are available, now the market has become so much dynamic as well as so much of different in nature, then people should accept that product, whether it is gas, whether it is a petroleum product, whether it is a power, whether it is a power from renewable energy, or it is from the non-renewable energy. That the customer has got the choice now to select the product and accept it. And the second part of the A is the adaptability. Suppose the electric appliances, whether it is available with us or which is not available, that way it is again adaptability. That one A I want to add over and above that 3 A's we talked about. Arindam ji, thank you very much for joining. I have just started, and I was told that you are just joining, so I will be starting this session, which is session 2, which will be talking about the pipeline network, CGD, LNG, energy transition and total quality management in this session. And just to be very accurate again on this, that every subject is a big subject of its own, whether it is a CGD, whether it is a LNG, or whether it is a CBG, CGD synchronization process, or if it is energy transition. They are all in a big way, they are different subject altogether. However, we will take the advantage of your presence as well as your experience in the past in this area. And I would like to say that as you are the expert in this field, that we will try to gather the insights of these areas one after another. And today we will be also be talking about the accelerating the CGD distribution, expansion of LNG terminal as well as the regasification capacity. With us Mr. V.K. Mishra ji, who is having a very big experience in this area of LNG as well as regasification. We will also introduce Mr. V.K. Mishra ji as well as Mr. Arindam Mitra. He is also having a big experience in this field. So our session will be basically to see that what their experiences on the specific areas, and I will also pose some questions to you at the later point of time. But for the time being, I would like to request Mr. V.K. Mishra ji to have few opening remarks for this session. Then we'll go to Mr. Arindam Mitra for his speech and opening remarks. Then we'll have a kind of discussion in and around this and have a quick question and answer session at the later part of the session. Over to Mr. V.K. Mishra ji, please.
Thank you. So, thank you very much first of all to PSD Chamber of Commerce and Industry for inviting me for this session, and perhaps this is a privilege, and I have been associated for this particular organization for a long time. As he mentioned, Mr. Rupesh mentioned that I had been associated in past also and chaired the Hydrocarbon Committee. So thank you very much once again. And now I would like to focus on the scenario which has been discussed at PSU's leadership on LNG, pipelines and CBG and CNG, everything which is there. So if you look at the Indian gas scenario, you will find that it's the share of natural gas is hardly 6 to 7% of the total energy mix of India. So it has been for a long time, and there has been so many promises that it has to increase, but substantially it is not increasing. But of course, what I will say that kitty overall is so big because India's energy demand itself is so high that kitty is increasing. Even maintaining 6-7% is also a challenge because overall energy demand is increasing, and you know that crude import is roughly 88 to 90% of the total requirement of India. And similarly, in case of gas also, approximately 50% of the gas is imported from outside India. And as you know, there have been so many contracts. GAIL and Petronet are spearheading in the contracting for LNG from outside India. And as we very well know that indigenous gas, domestic gas availability is poor. There have been a lot of efforts in the past to increase the domestic gas production, but as you know that there are constraints. It has increased also from, in fact, HPST fields, high pressure, high temperature fields, gas has been extracted, and there is a possibility that it will continue to 4 or 5 years. But after 4 or 5 years, it will be a plateau and it will come down. So what is future we see is that domestic gas availability will be poorer and poorer going forward. It is not likely that production will substantially increase. So finally, we have to depend on imported gas, that is LNG. That is the only alternative left with us. And that is what we foresee, and we'll discuss slowly that how it will be shaping up. Now, if you look at the different segments, you see that CGD segment is there, which is consuming almost 45% MMSCMD of the gas, of the total consumption of around 190 to 200 MMSCMD. And it will be spearheading the consumption of gas in future, this is for sure. Because government is also incentivizing CGD sector, and perhaps maybe by 2030, I hope that it will be around 100 MMSCMD. So this is the likelihood from 45 MMSCMD. But as of now, if you look at the consumption pattern, it is the fertilizer sector which is consuming the maximum gas, around 55 MMSCMD. So this is the highest gas consumer. But going forward in future, as I said, CGD will be the prominent sector. And perhaps other area which will be discussed, because I will discuss in detail later, but other areas are LNG terminals. As you know that if you want LNG, more LNG, then you need more LNG regasification capacity. So as on date, whatever capacity is available, of course it is sufficient today. But going forward, when the consumption and share of natural gas will increase, and to meet the aspirations of Government of India of 15% share of natural gas in the energy mix, then there will be a requirement of more regasification capacities going forward. So this is how LNG terminal is likely to be there, and other initiatives like CBG all are going on. But as you know that they are all in the stage which is a very nascent stage, and perhaps in future it will be possible to get the desired results from CBG also, and that will be in fact a step towards the carbon neutral kind of situation. If we achieve the kind of targets which have been fixed of 15 MMTPA of CBG, that will reduce the import of LNG to that extent. So that is, you can say, a very ambitious target, but let us see what happens. And other areas are there, hydrogen and other things, but I think this is my remark on LNG. And pipeline, of course, as you know, GAIL is already having total pipeline network of natural gas is around 25,000 kilometers, and another 9,954 kilometers will be added to it in the next 3-4 years. So it will be around 34,000 something like that. So this is the total infrastructure setup: CGD, pipeline, and regas terminals. So this is my remark. Later on I will discuss it in detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Mishra ji, for making this context very big, but at the same time very simple, because of the fact that you told that CBG sector, as well as the CGT, as well as the regas terminal, as well as the network expansion are the key for the development of the country down the line. But in addition to those, there would be some other alternate energy that may be possible, maybe hydrogen or others, alternate energy, including the nuclear that we talked about in the previous sessions. Now, I would like to come to Mr. Arindam Mitra, that how IGX, we have heard in the morning how IGX is playing a crucial role for the gas-based economy, what we dream today, what we think today, what we plan today, as an enabling factor for the gas sector to go in coming days. So just you please give some insight about the IGX play the crucial role for this gas-based economy that we are planning and dreaming for.
Thank you for the question, sir. At the outset, I'll thank PhD CCI for having me here. It's indeed a privilege and honor to be sitting beside Shri Mishra and Shri Biswas. To speak about IGX, the IGX was set up in 2020. We are just 5 years old now. The intent or the vision was to have a transparency in the market. We came with that dream that there should be a transparent, neutral, and a competitive marketplace where the participants should be able to transact with ease. So today also, like IGX, the platform, it allows people to transact for a term as short as 1 day to as long as 12 months. We have almost all the delivery points with us, all the domestic gas fields, and most of the RLNG terminals are designated delivery points on the exchange platform, where people can buy and sell gas, traders can resell gas. More importantly, the biggest value or the difference that has come after the establishment of IGX is the time of procurement has reduced. The point you think you need gas and the point you have gas, that time gap has reduced significantly. Just to give an example, today we have a few contracts with us which allows us intraday trades. So you have the trading and the delivery on the same day itself. So it's a new thing. 2 to 3 years or 7 to 8 years back, if you go back, if you think that someone needs gas for the next day and it's only for a single day, it would have been very difficult because you don't get too many suppliers for this short demand, small demand at such a prompt notice. More importantly, it's at the same time we have tried to make the contracts as standard as possible. We have tried to include all the options available to the market for a day, for 2 days, for a month, for a fortnight, for 3 months, for 6 months. Not only this, most of the contracts in IGX are now traded in INR per MMBTU. So this is also one of the things, the most of the contracts are fixed price contracts. And to add to it, we also have options where the buyers and sellers can transact in index-based contracts, GIXI, VIM, JKM, or Brent-based contracts. So I think these are the things that has actually helped us. More importantly, when we talk about resilience, which is the theme today, one of the key aspects of resilience is that now when the gas markets are maturing, we are having so much of infrastructure, 35,000 kilometers pipeline, 52.7 MMTPA, terminals, 307 GAs, 260 MMTPA refining capacity. The demand is definitely going to rise. At the same time, it's an inherent requirement today that we have our own gas index. So in this area, we have already established a gas index called GIXI, which is a volume weighted average of all the trades happening on exchange. So I think these are the things where we have actually tried to allow and facilitate people to trade, to buy and sell gas with ease and flexibility. More importantly, we also allow some sort of delivered transactions. So managing a GTA today is not an easy thing. So smaller customers might find it difficult to operate a gas transmission agreement. We have understanding with all the transporters, and we can facilitate the transportation part on behalf of customers. So I think these are the few areas that IGX has played a role.
Okay, thank you, Arindam. I'll just ask you one more connecting question here, because here the audience, as well as the small players, as well as whosoever is interested to come on to the IGX platform, what are the formalities they need to do? Because it will be very interesting to know that, look, there is an IGX platform available, and I am a consumer or a kind of related party. How do I come to IGX platform? What are the possibilities and what are the different formalities they have to do? Can you just share with the audience?
So we have, in terms of our platform, we have 2 modes. Either you can enroll as a member, as a proprietary member. So proprietary members who can trade on their behalf and on behalf of their associates and affiliates. You can also enroll with IGX as a trading and clearing member, where you can trade not for yourself but for your clients. And the clients who are actually members not directly to the exchange but are members to the or are associated to exchange via the trading and clearing members. We have an entire a very proper and very detailed membership procedure, and our membership team is there. We can, if anyone requires any assistance, we will be happy to help you.
So thank you very much, Arindam. That means it will culminate to a kind of ease of business overall. If you see the gas business in the country, that is what we can take up, that it will be an enabling factor for the consumers to get connected with IGX, and it will do at the same time ease of business with a very quick decision making ability with their requirement fulfilled, right?
Definitely, sir, definitely. Just to add, a typical, because many people are here, a typical cycle which for procurement, you need to float a tender, you have the offers, you need to evaluate, you have to finalize the L1, then you have to sign the agreements, LC, BG. This might take almost 4 to 5 days, even at a very rapid, if you work at a very fast rate, it still takes 4 to 5 days. But on IGX, because we have the framework in place, we have a risk mitigation policies in place, we have a detailed margining process in place. So this is very easy, and you don't need so much of time to complete all these things.
Thank you, Arindam. We'll come to the risk management as well as the transparency maybe after some time. And I have got the opportunity to also talk about the quality as well as the quality management of all the organizations, those who are dealing with natural gas and natural gas related towards the end of my session here today. But we'd like to come to Mr. V.K. Mishra ji for another interesting point, which will be very much interesting for all of us, to know that being a kind of natural gas company, PLL being the, you know, one of the biggest importer in the country, but at the same time PLL has also tried to diversify their business into some other segments that we are slightly aware of, but we are not very informed hugely that what are the other segment a PLL like company or a LNG player can come to that side, which has got a good return on the investment. Because whenever there is a business, new segment, new investment, there has to be some, you know, kind of return on the investment. Is there anything that you can offer to us, that which are the other segment, being a head of the finance of PLL, you can throw some light on us that where we can go and invest somewhere else in addition to the PLL's existence in gas sector? Mr. Vista?
Yeah, thank you. But first of all, I would like to mention how Petronet LNG is diversifying in different segments, different business areas, and perhaps one of the important area which has been introduced in PLL as a new venture is the petrochemical business. So it is basically a plant where it will be manufacturing propylene and polypropylene. So that is the diversification it has made, and it will be, it has been analyzed in detail, what is the return on investment, and looking at a 5 to 7 year scenario of return on investment, it has been analyzed and found that there is a return on it. Of course, this is a cyclic industry. It's not always that you are earning profit every time, but over a cycle of 3 years, you will find that this business is profitable, and perhaps that is the thought process which has driven Petronet LNG Limited to enter into this petrochemical business, and that's why even thorough analysis and several board meetings have taken place to approve this, because this was a big investment initiative of around 20,000 crores, which is being set up in Dahej, and construction is already going on in full swing, and perhaps by 2028 this plant will be commissioned. So polypropylene and this propylene, this will be produced from that plant, and the basic raw material which will be imported will be propane, and for that they are lining up the contract for importing propane, which is a feedstock for this industry, and through that it will be manufactured propylene first and then polypropylene. So this is how it is going, and this is one of the important diversification, because as you know that Petronet has been long involved in import of LNG, and it was thought that it should have some diversification also, because it's not always possible that you continue with the same stream of business. Sometimes there are hard times also, and you will not earn profit from those business which you are already carrying on since long as a traditional business. But of course, this particular segment will definitely contribute to the profitability of Petronet LNG Limited, because it has been analyzed in threadbare analysis, and thereafter only this decision has been taken, and this is the major diversification where it is going up. So this is how I would like to mention, but in detail I cannot mention those.
Thank you, Mr. V.K. Mishra ji, for sharing the diversification possibilities, as well as in coming days the PLL, we will see that polymer production also being done by PLL through propylene to polypropylene, which is one product which India is importing. In fact, just to share with you, a few days back GAIL also commissioned its 60 KTA polypropylene unit at Pata in UP, and again we will also see that PLL is also having these products in India, because in India it's a net import of PP, though there are small units in various parts of the country of polypropylene, which is a very, very good product for many ancillaries companies, including the car manufacturing as well as the transport and transmission related utilization. Thank you, Mr. Ji, for your...
One more point I would like to add. Before undertaking this initiative for investing in petrochemical business, there was analysis, there was a consultant appointed for demand scenario. going forward up to in next 10 years. It was found that there is a requirement of around 15 MMTPA of propylene in India. As of now, around 9.5 MTPA plants are available. So there is still shortfall of around 5.5 MTPA. So it was thought that even if we put some, it's a basically plant which will have very small 0.5 and this 1 MMTPA kind of thing. So it is within the requirement of the country in the next 5 to 7 years. Otherwise, you will have to import it from the outside country. I'm not saying others are not coming up in this business, but there has been demand in future because still India is consuming very low proportion of propylene polymer products as compared to the global average. So that is the driver for in taking the initiative of going into this kind of diversification.
So we wish all the best for your new product. PLL being a natural gas, big company now venturing into a polypropylene kind of thing. Our best wishes, and we must say that we will look for that day when you get the first product for the market to take care of, because we are importing a lot of petrochemical products, including polypropylene in India. That is the valid solid point to go ahead, and there is a profitability, and as you are rightly mentioning, it's a cyclic kind of market where there will be some very high demand, high price, and at the same time there may not be that high price and that high demand because others have also started producing some parts of the globe. So it will be a cyclic kind of market. But again, hats off to you PLL for the big initiative which will actually support the country like India to get more polypropylene within the country. Mr. Arindam, I would probably say that IGX is again being a kind of enabler for the gas industry. Do you find that any difficulty for CGD sector to come to your platform, and they are also having the similar equitable position than the big companies like GAIL, IOCL and other companies vis-a-vis small sector? Suppose there are private as well as public players who want to come to your IGX player. Is there any equitable position by the small companies, though it may be a private or may be a PSU, vis-a-vis big private as well as PSU? Is there any difficulty? Is there any differentiation? Is there any similarity or dissimilarities to come to your platform?
So, the platform is so designed that anyone can access it, be it smaller players, be it bigger players. Of course, the CGD you spoke about, CGD is a very active participating sector on the exchange. A lot of CGD companies procure gas and that's more to do with the inherent business, because the volumes downstream demand in CGD today is quite fluctuating. There are times when during festivals there's a demand spike, and it's hard to forecast these demand spikes. So at such times we find a lot of CGD companies who are actively procuring gas from the exchange. We also see the other side, that at times many players who have already procured gas, they also, due to some disruptions, they are not able to utilize the gas. They come and sell gas also. So the benefit for smaller players is that a minimum lot size is 50 MMBTU only. So 50 MMBTU is as small as 1250 or 1300 SCMD. So anyone who has a demand, or at least this much of demand, has to be there to procure gas on exchange. So that is one of the things. For the smaller players, the additional benefit or the value that IGX adds is what I said previously, that we have delivered mode of supply. We have delivered based trades also, where we can arrange the transportation. We enter into a framework, or we enter into agreement with the transporter on behalf of the final buyers, and we can facilitate the transportation part. Not only the smaller players, the bigger players also, to speak about the producers. We see a lot of participation from the domestic gas producers, because the production profile, forecasting production profile might not be easy at the inception, at the starting of commercialization of supplies. So we see a lot of suppliers or domestic gas producers actively offering their volumes on exchange also. So in that sense, I think it's a very neutral sort of a platform where everyone can access it according to their needs and requirements. But the prompt supplies or the prompt sales or prompt procurement is one of the biggest USPs that allows people or encourages people to come to exchange.
Very good, thank you. The gas-based economy we are actually dreaming, and whereas the producer, the supplier, the pipeline transmission system should all come together to see that it is a reality. Gas-based economy to become a reality requires every stakeholder's involvement as well as the support, and IGX being one of the enabler in this particular journey. We see that there are a lot of potential and there are a lot of upside of IGX platform to be used by all the consumers, as you are rightly saying, be it small, be it private, be it a public sector undertaking, or be it any consumer. They can come to the platform and they can have a very easy access to your platform so that they can utilize the gas at the end of the day for their own requirement. And from our side, from the gas players, we all see that IGX is going to go for an exponential growth in futures to come. When the gas portion of from 6% to 15% to achieve, it cannot be achieved without the platform like IGX that we have got. Our very big compliment as well as very big support will be from all the sides, that it goes up and up, so that the ground reality should be we have got the gas-based economy in future. Thank you very much for Arindam for sharing a very insightful information to all of us, that look, IGX is there to support the gas consumers in a very easy manner, and which we actually talk about that ease of business is one thing that you are doing it or going to do it in a better way and bigger way in future, very transparently. Thank you, Arindam, for your again insightful development as well as the progress that you are making in the gas sector. I will just now take just a small pause, because that we will be covering now the quality of service, the quality of product in a brief manner. I have got about 10 minutes. 10 minutes time for the brief subject which has never been talked about in this particular forum, like how the quality service management can actually help for the quality of service as well as product. So I would request Mr. Pritam and Puneet to run the presentation, and I will have a quick introduction as well as session on the quality of the service and the product we are talking. I mean, in the product, whether it is gas, in the hydrogen, whether it is a gray or whether it is a blue or a black hydrogen, it doesn't matter. It is the matter is that hydrogen is reaching. But over and above that hydrogen as a hydrogen, we should see that whether it is a green hydrogen. Similarly, the product we produce, nowadays we are talking about the green products. We'll have to also see the how quality can come in the service part also. Whatever we are committed, whatever we are committing to the consumer, it has to have a kind of product which has got the quality also aspect in that, and there also has to be a service which is the quality service. So I'll just take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes time, so you can run the presentation, and I can be easily see that PPT from here, that that can run through. Thank you again, PhD Chamber of Commerce, for giving us an opportunity to me and the quality aspect of the services and the product that we'll be covering in 10-15 minutes. So GAIL India is already having this quality service management system, and there are areas where we can talk about the quality, is that how we can continuously improve our system as well as services and the product. And TQM department core principle is that how we can improve our system, be it in gas sector, be it in any sector. I must take your answer also at the end of the day session also, that how you can improve your the availability, accessibility as well as the affordability. In addition to that, how we can make that thing adaptable and acceptable. We will talk on that, because if the quality is good of any services, it will have a longevity as well as sustainability. You believe or not, it is a fact. So the quality aspect has to be also be taken care for our products, our services, or whatever you give it to the consumer. Therefore, quality has become even more important than it used to be. If there is any crisis in the canal of the source supply, our quality with the efficiency will matter a lot. You believe it or not, it is a fact today. We will have to see that how we can control the quality by having different segments of our activity, be it in the exploration sector, be it in the refining sector, or be it in the distribution sector. At the same time, we are small sector. We cannot see only as a big sector is the sector which has to survive. It is a small scale sector also. The MSME is also to support this ecosystem to be an active as well as viable and sustainable. This is as simple as this. We cannot ignore a small customer, we cannot ignore a medium customer, also the big customer. They are all together to build this nation in a very resilient company as well as the country. Therefore, the application of this quality has to be in all sectors, be it exploration as well as terminal or the refining or distribution sector. Similarly, as I told you, MSMEs are equally important, and they become more important when we talk about the supply as well as our parts, materials and other things they support for the big companies to survive. And the overall challenges and incentives as well as collaboration, how we can take care this ecosystem to become even more better than previously, that can be also be done through a roadmap. Here I will talk about some bit of ISO standardization, which we have not spoken since morning. We have been here talking about the gas and other things, but we have never talked about the quality standards as well as the guideline, the manual. Though it may look very simple and easy, but over a period of time we have found out that this is also equally important. You cannot ignore them. You cannot have the ISO standards aside for a couple of years. You may be serving the companies as well as the downstream consumer, but you have to maintain a standard and guideline so that they get a confidence, they get a kind of confidence to invest on us, invest on you. So therefore, ISO is also very, very important. And similarly, process optimization can take through different, procedures, manual, automation and digitization we all talk about. We do also believe in that customer satisfaction index is also equally important. Customer value management is equally important. Being a customer, I must see that my interest is protected. Similarly, the supplier will also see that yes, my business is also sustainable because the customer is ready to take my product, my services. That is how the CVM, CSI becomes equally important. And we can have through different zonal offices by which you can take a customer support. Suppose if some customer is having some kind of problem in their plant, we must be ready to support them so that they can revive. Why the CBG plants are not running full in capacity? Because of the maintenance as well as the quality service they do not get. Many CBG plants are in the country, but they do not run continuously because they do not have a proper maintenance schedule, maintenance facilities, maintenance vendors, supply vendors, the support they want to take at a point of time. Therefore, the reality is that you will have to have a collaboration with all the suppliers, vendors and all the small, those who are maintaining the plant to be very, very up to their point with their requirements to fulfill the plant to run and continue to run that product. And it has to be also a bit of policy that I must share with you. Unless and until the top management is focusing on the policy part, the ground and down below level will not be able to act very quietly and very smoothly. So therefore, a quality has to be from the top so that it is percolated down to the raw normal work level force. So quality is also equally important so that every company, big or small, has to have a kind of quality thrust by the management to see that quality is also equally important. Risk I will talk later on, maybe if time permits, otherwise quality is also equally important through a policy. So if you agree that quality control in the exploration, in the refining that we talked in the morning since, and refining and distribution network, quality is also equally important, that we are again not repeating here, but quality control is equally important in all the segments, be it upstream, midstream or downstream segment. So here the benefit, just to be very accurate and honest from my side, that if you do the quality checks, it will save your cost. It will increase your efficiency in the plant. Be it a small or a big company, it will save a cost which may be hidden in the past that we have not saved it in the past. But by having a kind of, especially MSME sector, I have found that with the quality management, they save a lot of cost in their plant. Similarly, the risk, as I was telling, it is also protecting your risk by having a proper quality product. If the product, Vishwasab, you will believe that if the quality is good, it will have less risk. Similarly, if your service is having a good quality, people will have the management decision to invest on us. So that will be actually saving, and it will give a return on the way we think, and it will reduce, of course, the risk. And sustainability, we talked a lot in the morning that it will be sustaining, as because your life cycle cost will be much better if the product or the services are having a quality of good quality. So again, I will not talk much about the affordable part, because small companies can do 9001 as well as 50 or 1000, or from the gas perspective and energy perspective. Lean practices are also used in many companies for getting focused way to see that customer value with minimizing their wastage. And supply chain integration as well as vendor management is also one thing that we must take care of, which we have not talked in the morning. Therefore, I am talking and touching this point, which will also take care by the MSMEs to see their benefit as well as cost saving. So, training, incentive and collaboration, if these are very intangible kind of thing. If your employees or the employees of any company is not incentivized, they will not be having that kind of tempo as well as their enthusiasm to work their fullest possible, because unless and until we give our fullest capabilities, the company does not get the result. Therefore, we will have to see that how training, proper training abroad or inside or outside India, incentives and other collaborative approach can be applied, so that you can get the best services that you require from all others, including your own employee within the organization. So therefore, the training, incentive and collaboration are also a part of the ecosystem that we should strive for. Next please. So quality circle journey, I will take another 3 to 4 minutes that what we have done so far at GAIL, that quality circle projects have been taken, and here Mr. Pritam ji as well as Puneet ji, and they are all here to see that the quality circle projects of GAIL, how it has actually improved the efficiency as well as the productivity, as well as they have got benefits out all these things. So that's how the quality circle journey of GAIL we have started since 2004, but we are still continuing with a big number. And our people, they go not only for the Indian big conclave as well as big seminars as well as competition, but they also go to the international seminars through QCFI and other forum. They go, and our team had gone to Taiwan recently. This is a kind of incentivization of our own employee. It cannot be seen that there is a benefit we are getting, but indirectly and intangibly we will get lot of benefit if the employees are boosted and they have given proper incentivization that. So we have done these things since 2004, and their role of the quality management also, it will see a lot of benefits through different management approach. And what we found of late, that management, if they are aware of the benefit somewhere or other that any organization is getting through that, now they will also be giving you the support in return. Once they see that there is a benefit of tangible benefit through quality management with the product management, quality as well as other things, they will also support you a lot. So this is the kind of broad role that our TQM group do, and they all do, and therefore we get the benefit out of this quality management. Next please. So this is the kind of organization structure that we have got. Top management is also included in that, so that your quality of service and quality of products are maintained, and it is linked with all the top management. It is not only the top management can do all these things, and the middle and below management, they are not covered into that. So we have connected top management with the the employee who are actually joining today to be in the part of the quality management system, so that they understand the quality and their importance. So this is how the customer satisfaction index worked. Actually, we took all the survey through the online portal, where all the customers have to give their feedback openly. They are not biased by our influence or our product and our intervention. They will have to give their own feedback through an online portal, where our people are here also, that they have got that independent feedback, that where we can take some action on that wherever they are not happy or they are not that happy. So therefore, we have made one system of customer satisfaction online system, and there is another CVM also there, which is basically one-to-one customer interaction with them, so that we know what are the real pain, what are the real challenges they are facing, and where we have to actually do some bit of extra which have not been done. So we are doing it in the petrochemical, we are doing it in the natural gas, we are doing it for the LSC product all throughout GAIL's customers. And fortunately, we have got a good score of 91% in the last 24-25 CSI index, but we are trying to even go beyond that. What we have got 91% is the CSI. This is online and offline, number, but online is also same in nature. So we are getting that impression that people are satisfied overall to the extent of 91%. So training, as I told you, we give a lot of training to the people so that they are also slightly aware of the quality requirement and quality aspects. So we give training through different ISB, IIMs and all things, so that they are also trained. So that is how what I go. And maybe another 2 or 3 slides on this, that ISO 9000 and ISO 50001 is basically energy management system, 51000, how the energy can be consumed, so that we can at least see that there are wastages are reduced. Our last time also I talked about the circular economy, where people have to reduce their wastages, people have to optimize their resources, because it is limited. It is not knowing, and your question was so good and relevant to you. I was tempted to answer, but I was not on the panel, therefore I have not answered you. But there are solid reasons where we should improve our efficiency, where we should improve our productivity not by reducing the consumption, but also reducing the wastage at the same time. And he has got a good concern that how India will survive. One side we are talking about only 50 years, 60 years oil available. At the other side we are planning for a big way. So that's how there is a dealing. And how to do it, the questions and the answers are very relevant, and there is one way of taking care of all those. So this is how the initiatives that we have taken in our company. So you can see that there are different activities that we have done in the plus, so that everybody is lined up and linked with this quality initiative that has been taken. Next. So these are the kind of, again, I am taking because I am a very employee centric. सीधी सी बात है भाई, जब तक हमारा down the line काम नहीं करेगा, हम कुछ नहीं है. Therefore, the incentivization, they must be agreeing that unless and until you take the youngest person in the company, say for them to incentivize through whatever mechanism you follow, they will be charged and do their best for the company or whatever organization they are. So we have sent 1 or 2 3 teams in the international, and about 40 to 45 for the regional, as well as about 25 teams for the national competition, and they all done at par, because of over a period of time they have known that how to convince the management, how to convince the customer, how to convince the people, those who we are interacting with, in the best way possible. And we have found that our quality person who is having a presentation either in the national, or they are much superior than the normal activity people are doing. But we'll have to generate the other people also at the same time. So we do the rotational kind of training that we provide, and that way we have got some benefit which are very intangible in nature. People will see that what is the benefit I am getting if I invest some money in a very quick manner. But this is a kind of return we are getting in a very different way, which is a very intangible way. So again, GAIL has been doing this, and we have got our award in international forum also in the past. This is why I am saying so. The quality of product and quality of services. I think this is the last slide. This is the last slide. Thank you. These are the kind of thing that we have done in the past, and we got the benefit. Why I am talking? This subject has not been talked about in the past naturally and normally. Therefore, I am saying that the quality of product, quality of services are equally important to take care of some of the risk. Not only the risk, but there are benefits which are mostly intangible in nature, but also tangible in nature. We must say that we got a lot of benefit to the extent of huge crore by having all these things in place. And I must share to the audience that please try that and see that if there is any benefit you do. If you do not get the benefit, don't. But you try that, and there is nothing wrong trying something which is not there, to see that the quality aspect has to be also be taken care of by the all organizations. And I hope that it makes sense to all of us here today. Mr. Sir, if you want to say something on that, Mr. Arindam, if you want to say something on the quality of the service that you give, if yes, please share with us.
I appreciate that. This is the aspect, I think this is overlooked by most organizations.
I'm very frank and very candid in saying that sometimes it is overlooked by the organization. So I think this is very important that TQM, total quality management aspect, must be adhered to, and to for the delivery of the product which is good in quality, and perhaps all the aspects, all the standards, all the norms should be followed, so that there is no, as you rightly said, there is no rejection, there is acceptance and adaptability to that. So that kind of thing is very much required. But GAIL is spearheading this initiative. I really appreciate that. But I think in many organizations this is not being followed. So I think this should be the norm, that we should follow all this total quality management practices. This will help in delivery of the quality product to the ultimate consumers. Thank you for giving nice presentation.
Thank you. Arindamji, if you have got anything to add on or say something on this.
No, I'm very much in alignment what you said, sir. It's in today's environment where it's highly competitive, the quality is one of the differentiating factors between you and your peers. So it's very important to not only work, but keep on working on quality. It's a process, it's not a result, it's a process. And most importantly, we as individuals, we should not wait for departments or quality departments. We should start working towards this in our individual capacities. Once we start doing that, and once this process evolves, probably you will not require a department specifically to oversee this, and if everyone is working towards it in their individual capacity. I think that is what I feel about quality.
Very good. That means you are talking about the culture of the company, where it has to come not by a department alone, but by everyone. Everyone. Oh, very good. Excellent. Arindamji, you have actually taken my points for me to also to say that yes, it is a culture that matters, and it will be mattering in future, because of the fact that we are having a competition internationally. If your product is not at par with the international, why the steel factories are to abide by the carbon norms? Because it has to compete with the international steel, which are greener in nature, vis-a-vis direct, the steel that is getting exported to the European country. They say that, look boss, I will not take your steel because it is not that green. As simple as this. Similarly, the quality of any product or any services, if it is not having a benchmark of international, we are not going to be accepted outside India. सीधी सी बात है भाई. हम तो आपसे नहीं लेने वाला, because आपका product से मेरे को ज़्यादा better उधर product मिल रहा है. The company will not survive. The company will not be sustainable unless and until you have got that kind of quality things in mind, as well as in actual product. You show that this is the quality of the product. Why there are many companies, they are exporting their medicines and other things, because it is maintaining the quality of international standard. So therefore, it becomes even more pertinent to see that the qualities are of the international benchmark. Not every time it has to be international benchmark, but we can set our own benchmarking. Not that the Solomon index should guide us for that energy intensity in our pipeline. We will have our own benchmark to follow our own, so that everybody gets a quality product, quality services based on our आपने कुछ देर पहले हमारा own exchange की बात किया. So that is a lovely thing. That IGX, why I love IGX approach towards that they are setting up of their own. And Mr. Mendiratta ji, I was interacting with him 5 years back when GAIL took the equity in IGX, and that day I knew that this company will be flourishing exponentially. And as the gas progresses in the country, there will also be a kind of platform which will be used by most of us. Thank you again for coming and sharing your insightful thoughts. And I think Rupesh ji, you can give your vote of thanks now. Thank you. And any questions? Sorry, just one more minute. Anybody in the audience have got any question? Please. Okay. Thank you, sir. Just quick question, please. We are sitting in between lunch and this, so please tell me.
Hovering around 6% or so. So my question is that there are business as usual scenarios, business with physical reforms and structural reforms. So this GST thing is yet not over. So what do you think is perspective? Are we going to achieve it or not? First thing. Second question is regarding MSMEs, because PhD is basically focused on MSMEs. So MSMEs where there is basically hard to abate pollution creating entities. So this natural gas can be a bridge fuel for those entities. So can there be any mandate for them to use it and concessional finance for that?
The GST part.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, your question is that share of natural gas has to be enhanced to 15%. What are the initiatives government is taking? This is a big question mark, but I am not saying they have to, there are more policy decisions are to be undertaken by government. But perhaps, as you are saying, I am optimistic that 15% target is not possible to achieve by 2030. This is quite sure. Only thing, when you fix higher targets, then only you reach the target nearby that. So what I am now expecting is that 15% means the consumption of gas, which is almost 3 times more than existing consumption today. Today, around 200 MMSCMD is being consumed in the industry in India, and it has to increase to 600 MMSCMD, which is unlikely to happen by 2030. But I am still hopeful that more than 300 MMSCMD gas will be consumed by 2030. That means around 150 MMTP of gas will be consumed by 2030. 30 it is expected, but I am not saying it will happen, but it should happen. So if that even happens, it's good enough. It's not bad. Maybe 15% may not happen, but it will be 9%, it will be 10%, that will be good enough. Because the kind of scenario it is going on, is import of LNG is hardly 26 MMTPA last year. And if you look at the total consumption is around 200 MMSCMD, as I said. So 50-50 is there. So around say 45 to 50 million tons consumption is there. So it is only to that extent, and every year hardly 3-4% increases. But as you rightly said, that there are initiatives which are required, which are not happening. GST is not there on natural gas, and it has been demanded by the industry for such a long time. Now people have even started not saying this to the government because they know this will not happen. Because ultimately even government cannot do it. It has to be done by GST Council, which comprises of the state finance ministers. So it is only that body which can do it. Not even government can do it. So it's beyond their power, in fact. So that is the reason why it is not happening. But of course, I am optimistic still. And perhaps by 2035, it will be maybe 400 MMSCMD or maybe 500 MMSCMD. But 2030, it looks little bit unlikely to reach 15% target. But we are optimistic people and we will continue to believe it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a very open, frank opinion. GST as well as the 15%. The basic question was that GST, whether it will be implemented or not. Second is that whether 15% will be achievable or not. So with the government intervention and the policy changes, if it changes, suppose today the government has declared that there will be some investment in the CCUS. The last year, the investment on the R&D was one of the focus area for the government. Suppose a scenario that happens, yes, GST is also to be done, or the, the investment in the R&D is again done. The situation may change. Let us be optimistic on that, and people are all aware of the fact and figures now. They have got huge data
One
bank.
more point I would like to add. Because if you look at the world and global average of consumption of LNG, it is around 24%. But in India it is 6%. But what are the drivers for that kind of consumption of 24%? It is the power sector which is consuming maximum LNG across the globe. Here power sector consumes hardly 2-4%. Power sector affordability is problem. That's why I am telling you. I am saying domestic gas is not available for power sector. So that is the reason that affordability of gas in power sector is poor in India. Unless that gas prices are down, which we expect, because the global capacity of LNG is increasing by 180 MMTPA. Right now it is 494 MMTPA liquefaction capacity. It is increasing by 180 MMTPA between 2026 and 28, and this is majorly driven by US and Qatar. If that happens, there will be supply abundance, and then it is possible that prices will come down because demand will be less, supply will be more. So demand supply dynamics will play its role and prices will come down. So I feel that if prices are in between $6 to $8, then perhaps there is a hope that power sector may consume more LNG. But at this level of $10, $11, $12, it's not affordable for power sector. So that is a major drawback. Unless power sector consumes, it is not possible to reach that 15%.
Alternate energies को मिल रहा है 2-2.5 रुपया per kWh vis-a-vis the gas price. If you convert into the power, it doesn't make sense to the consumer point of view. So thank you, sir, for your very frank and frank opinion, as well as the open, kind of discussion that we took today. Arindamji also. Over to you, Mr. Rupesh. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. I think from the morning we were hearing so many things. The purpose of organizing this workshop, Hydrocarbon Summit, we are discussing about the future of hydrocarbon. We are talking about risk management, total quality management, resilience, so many things we discuss. Even in the morning, one of the keynote speakers, Sandeep Jain ji, was talking about, he gave example of Turtuk, and that he visited to, that was the, the last village of, between India and POK. I got that one opportunity for leading one delegation to Turtuk in 2021 with the edges of Ministry of Youth Affairs and Tourism. And I saw that mud house. And yes, this is the true, and that is the, well-known fact. But yes, if we see about the challenges, because here we are discussing about the challenges, and in current situation and what going on in global market, this summit, I think, has achieved their objective. All the speakers from the morning to afternoon, they gave their full insight, perspective, and I think the takeaway is this kind of summit and this kind of takeaway we are going to submit to Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas is really going to important. From the PhD side, we are really thankful to all the distinguished speakers from the morning to afternoon for contributing their, giving their insight and their contribution for making this summit successful, especially for this present session. Thank you, Biswas sir. Thank you, Misra sir. I'm meeting first time to Misra sir, but yes, he was heading this committee. And after this dialogue, I think I'm going to take his guidance for future events also, because he was leading this hydrocarbon committee, and Arindam first time you came here, but you have given your vision and your perspective about IGX. Yes, in the morning session, Mahindiratta Saab was there, but as a business development side, I think your role is really important. So for this, thank you for coming here, for attending this summit from the morning to afternoon. We are closing this session. Thanks to all the media partners, ANI, PTI, everyone who all are from the media side, our partners, GAIL, IGX, our team, Harshita, Khushi, and all the people from PhD side, and of course our photographer Akash, our support team. Thank you everyone. After this we are moving to foyer, but before this I would request our team to felicitate our honorable speakers for this session, and then after that we will move for the networking lunch. Thank you very much.
Sir.